shows across the nation, helped so many people, and guided them to my website. And
look at this.
What is this, a joke program? I mean, what type of a program are you running here?
Here comes the ball.
Go.
Did you hear
that hair?
Be hungry. First on Fox Sports.
Yo, New York!
Morning radio personality Bill Keeler is no longer on the air. He was fired yesterday over a contract.
Father O'Shaughnessy?
Yes.
Great Bullwell in Lynchburg, Virginia. How are you?
Good morning. Go to hell!
Free your mind.
Well, here we go, and we're looking at some really. This is going to be if this can't uplift your spirits this week, I don't know what will. We're looking at some nice, warmer temperatures, and right up until the weekend was chilly. I'll take it. A lot of sunshine,
but it wasn't bone
yeah.
chilling.
Yeah, Friday, of course, was really bad, and as a result, that. Whiteout conditions and that horrible bus accident.
Yeah.
What are the chances that you have in a rural area, you have a head-on collision, I understand, but a head-on collision that is two school buses?
It's devastating. My heart goes out to the victims, especially the children who were on the bus, because that must have been horrifying.
Yeah, just I can't imagine. So, a couple things we'll get to today. Mayor Mike Galimi, more on this tax increase and his budget. We'll get to that. The county clerk, Mary Finnegan, is on. A lot of questions about the real ID. There's all this push on the real ID. If you're going to fly, you got to have a real ID. What about the enhanced driver's license? And a lot of people wondering, when is the Rome DMV going to reopen? It's not open yet, is it, Davey? So we'll speak with Mary Finnegan.
No, not yet.
Not yet. We'll speak with her coming up. Over the weekend, and the other thing that's really big today is it looks like the COs, the corrections officers, are going to head back to work. It looks like maybe a deal has been struck. And initially the thought was that was on Friday. Maybe some additional negotiating over the weekend, but it looks like a deal has been struck. We'll see what Brian Luska has to say from Niscoba. We'll get to that. Also, Davey, over the weekend, that game with Syracuse was definitely their best game of the season.
Yes, sir, it was.
I mean, we said a few weeks ago they had their best game of the season, and on Saturday night, that was it.
You mean the NC State game that
they
won?
That was
good too.
One of the highlights, but this one was the best. And you know what? If there's ever a time, I don't know. Every time we say this, they turn around and stink up the court. But if there's ever a time, this would be the time right now.
Yeah, this is the time to gel right now. This is the time, the moment, and get ready to go for March Madness.
This morning at 10 o'clock, the UCHC will announce. I'm sorry, the NCAA will announce their at-large bid and their NCAA Division III men's hockey tournament lineup. Utica, and you got to understand this rivalry between Utica and Geneseo has been crazy this year. Utica won twice, Geneseo won twice. And then on Saturday, it was a UCHC championship at the Adirondack Bank Center. And I don't know what happened to their goalie, who has been really pretty rock solid this season, but he gave up 4 goals in the first period.
Yikes!
It was a terrible start. So they ended up pulling him. The backup goalie came in. did a pretty good job. Utica came back and scored 3 goals. I mean, they were on fire. And so now you've got a score of 4-3, Geneseo leading. Then Geneseo scores. Okay, not bad. We're down by 2. Let's keep the momentum going. And I think it was my wife that said, I hope they don't let this get to their heads. And sure enough, another goal gets scored. Well, now we're down by 2. We still have the full third period to go. We're going to be okay. And then a 7th goal. Now it's 7-3.
Oof.
With like 10 minutes left in the game. And that's how the whole thing ended. So, I do think Utica is positioned to get an at-large bid, which means I would expect them. I'm not sure we're going to get a home game, but I would expect them to make it into the NCAA. We should get a home game because they're the third or fourth seed in ranked team in the country right now.
Good for them.
I'm not sure after this weekend where they are. Nonetheless, they should get an at-large bid, and we'll find out this morning at 10 o'clock. So we'll be watching. We'll report on that later on this morning. And then tomorrow we'll speak with Gary Heenan. I cannot imagine. Davey, tell him you got to hang up with him. You got stuff to do. I would assume that when they're down 4-0 and they go into the intermission, the first intermission, I'm assuming there was some heat in that locker room.
Sure was. Knowing Gary, yeah.
Knowing Gary. And my guess is also that's why they came out and played so well and scored 3 goals.
So when they announced today, Bill, at 10 o'clock, will Utica University be hosting a game at the
I think they might, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure they're going to get an at-large bid because of where they stand in the country. This is a rivalry between them and Geneseo. Keep in mind, Geneseo lost to Nazareth last weekend, like 9-2 or something like that. It was a blowout.
Yeah.
I forgot what the final score was, but they got clobbered.
9-1, I think it was.
And so I think they get a bid, and I think there's a chance we'll get one game. We'll see what occurs on all of that. Coming up in a little bit, we'll talk with Ryan Schmelz from Fox News Radio as well. Believe it or not, this Friday is the deadline to get a deal to avert a government shutdown.
TikTok.
That is, Megan, that is something where Democrats are saying we're already in a semi-shutdown with all of the closures that Elon Musk is in the middle of, and all of that. I don't know. But the problem that right now, and we'll speak with Ryan about it, the problem that they have right now is, and the president has asked them to vote yes for this, which would take us into the fall. There are Republicans who are no votes right now, and they can't afford to really lose any.
No, they can't, because it's pretty much evenly divided. And personally, it feels like the can keeps getting kicked down the road with no true meaningful solution. And this has been happening for many, many years now. This isn't just a Trump problem. This was a Biden problem. This was an Obama problem. That the divide and the unwillingness of either side to come together and meet in the middle of the aisle, because these people are elected to represent their constituents. And it seems that there's all this chest thumping and marching along the blue or red line and putting party over people. And real people are now suffering because you have all this uncertainty that if the federal government shuts down, what does that mean for the nation? So hopefully we could get these two sides working together as they have been elected to do with the trust of their constituents to have a package put together and hopefully a comprehensive spending bill in order that they don't have to keep raising the ceiling or raising taxes or basically just having us feel like there's just a nonstop dizzying carousel of back and forth.
So I forgot who it was that came out and said we got to pass, and actually we were talking to Ryan Schmelz on Friday, we got to pass this budget. Republicans saying we have to pass this and avert a shutdown because there has never been a government shutdown that Republicans weren't blamed for. And in this case, while albeit a small majority, they have, if everybody's in line, they can get it done. But you have this faction of the party that's not pleased. You have some others that are upset over Ukraine. Very much like the AOC group in the Democratic Party. You have, but very different. You just have you have some dissension, and it's going to be. And the president putting out a tweet over the weekend. Pass this.
Yes.
Please, I think is what he said. Please.
It
pass
is.
this.
And also with the Republican parties, you're seeing with town halls of those who were reliably elected into their office, that when they're holding their town halls, they're getting torn apart by their own constituents because they're unhappy with what is being prioritized.
Well, they're unhappy. You have people that are losing their jobs, and they're not just Democrats losing their jobs. They're Democrats, Republicans, and veterans. Oftentimes, you get out of the service, and you're prioritized to get a government job. So a lot of the people who have lost their jobs are veterans. So it's a very interesting issue, and this all coming at a time where the stock market has been somewhat volatile. And so we'll get to Ryan Schmelz on all of that coming up in a little bit. Mayor Galimi in Utica is pushing for a vote at some point. We'll see what he says to see if this is still alive. A vote to be able to bypass a 2% or whatever the tax cap is going to end up.
He sent a letter to all the council people over the weekend demanding that they come to a mandatory meeting today at 5 o'clock.
All right, and that's why we'll speak with him on that in advance of that today. So a lot of stuff going on, a lot of craziness, and in the midst of it all, we have finally some warmer temperatures. If there's ever a point where we get a little bit of flooding, although we've been really lucky because there's been gradual melting, but there's still a ton of snow to the North Country. If there's ever a point, it's when temperatures reach the 50s and 60s. And we'll be in at least mid to upper 40s all week long with some higher days where I believe tomorrow it'll be up into the 60s.
I'm looking forward to opening my windows, Bill, letting some fresh air in because we've never had that January or February thaw where it just randomly would be 60 degrees. That's it has been in the past couple of years. So the interior of my apartment is a little bit stuffy, and that can only be remedied by me opening the windows and leaving them open for the day just to get some fresh air in.
So my mother would always, even if it was cold, there would be that one day she'd say, everybody's getting the flu, everybody's getting sick. We got everybody healthy now. I'm going to open the windows for about 45 minutes, turn off the heat, and let whether it be cold air or warm air in and get the germs out. And you'll be able to do that on really today is not going to be all that terrible either as we warm up into the mid 40s. But for the weekend or for Tuesday, 60s. So
it's going to feel like the Bahamas.
Today is also National Napping Day.
Oh, my favorite pastime.
This is what they say, a day where you can do a power nap. They say the ideal time to nap is usually about 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, they call it the NASA nap.
Is that what it's called now?
Yeah. That's what the astronauts do when they need a little a pick-me-up.
So I do understand that. You can sometimes you could fall asleep and it's only 10 minutes. And you wake back up and you feel somewhat refreshed. So there you go. That's National Napping Day today, and maybe you'll be able to take advantage of that at some point.
Yeah, we're gonna go snooze during the commercial break.
Let me get Ryan Schmelz in before we take the break. And Ryan from Fox News Radio on the line right now. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
So here we go. Seems like this has become a regular occurrence. We're talking about a potential government shutdown.
It certainly is. We've got a plan from House Republicans to address that. It's a continuing resolution, a stopgap measure that would extend government funding until the end of September. But it is an extension of President Biden's levels from when he was president back in 2024. So I think there are some Republicans who have some serious issues with this. They're likely to lose at least one. That'll be Thomas Massey. But there is still a chance they could pass this on a bipartisan basis, considering the fact that this is what President Trump is going to be backing. So you go ahead and you pass this, and then You see what the Senate does, but it's going to be hard to get this past the Senate because it's going to need 60 votes, and there are not 60 Republicans in the Senate.
Yeah. Going to be hard to get Democrats at this point. And because the Democrats are saying, we feel like we're already partially shut down with all of the Elon Musk cuts.
Yeah, and that's why Democrats are opposing this so far, at least on the leadership side. Now, that doesn't mean you couldn't see some moderates or some other ones come in and jump on board and try to pass it. But, we'll have to wait and see. It's very early in the week. This dropped on a Saturday. But, there are some cuts in here. It funds the government below the fiscal year 2024 levels that they agreed to last time. It does have some improvements in military spending, too. But I don't know if that's going to fly with Democrats, and it looks like it's not so far.
Well, in the meantime, there are both Democrats and Republicans who are bothered by our turning our backs at this point, or it seems that way, on Ukraine.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you can rule out protest votes on Ukraine within the Republicans right now. We don't have anybody who said that they're going to do this, but there are certainly a number of Republicans who've been very frustrated by President Trump and how this is being handled. Now, of course, I think the mood is getting better because I think people are starting to see Zelensky and Trump being willing to come back to the table. I mean, I think the common thing you hear is, well, this wouldn't be the first time President Trump had a spatting match with somebody and they ended up working out in the end. Worked out pretty well for J.D. Vance. So, it looks like that things are moving in the right direction, but I still think there's a little bit of hesitancy about, what the relationship is like with the U.S. going forward. But, of course, I think there's still a ton of frustration on both sides about some of these moves with intelligence sharing, as well as just the overall freeze in funding to Ukraine. I think that could get some bipartisan pushback for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see where all of this goes. The deadline to avert the shutdown is coming up on Friday.
Yes, sir.
Good times.
We'll see what happens.
I don't know. Our deadline in Buffalo was just this past weekend when we saw Josh Allen signed a pretty amazing contract.
Lucrative.
Yeah.
You did.
You know what I find
was even up?
I didn't think so. I don't think so. I think they just were like, we're going to lock you in here
until 2030.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that.
Cap space.
It's interesting you say that. It takes up a lot of space. There's no doubt. But beyond that, there's always those number of times you see a quarterback who's hungry and just killing it, and all of a sudden signs the big deal, and productivity just blanks to bed. Sorry.
Yeah, and we're starting to see that maybe be less of a factor now because you are seeing, Jalen Hurts was one of the big money quarterbacks. He won a Super Bowl just recently. Patrick Mahomes obviously has done it. So, it used to be, the quarterback on the rookie contract was was the gold standard. That's how you won Super Bowls. But now we're starting to see more big money teams or teams with big money quarterbacks pulling it off. So maybe that trend is starting to die, or maybe these GMs have just figured out how to manipulate the salary cap a little bit better than what they've been dealing with in the past.
Well, and I got to say that with Josh Allen, if you're a Bills fan or you're in the organization, you didn't win this year, but you cannot put any blame. They got as far as they did in what was thought to be an off year because of Josh Allen and all of those crazy moves from the past. Hurdling people and losing the ball and what have you. All of that went away. He was rock solid this year.
No, it was his best year so far, and that's why he won the MVP award.
Yeah.
So, if the Buffalo Bills know they cannot afford to lose Josh Allen, they're going to do anything to make him happy. But, the next step is how do you build that team around him and continue what you did last year, which was overachieving with a pretty young roster. But what do you do next?
What do you do next? Going to be interesting. Ryan Schmelz, as always, thank you so much. Have a great week. Thanks.
You too, my friend. Thank you.
Ryan Schmelz with Fox News Radio. Hold tight. We'll come right back. 6:35 at WIBX.
Good morning. It is 6:35, 34 degrees in downtown Marcy under clear skies. Going to be a nice drive to work this morning and especially tomorrow. We have your full weather forecast coming up next about that 60-degree weather that is on the way. A 3-week wildcat strike by corrections officers at New York State prisons might be over. The Department of Corrections announced over the weekend that a new agreement was reached with the union representing employees. The terms require that 85% of the striking workers return to work today in order for the agreement to take effect. A Palestinian activist who helped lead protests at Columbia University is now reportedly in federal custody. The New York Post reports Mohammed Khalil was arrested by ICE agents at his campus apartment Saturday night. Khalil faces having his green card revoked as part of President Trump's crackdown on such protests at U.S. universities. Khalil had helped organize and take part in several pro-Palestinian protests at Columbia University and Barnard College in recent months, including last week when demonstrators took over the Milstein Library at Barnard. The Trump administration is pulling $400 million in grants and contracts from Columbia University, citing anti-Semitism at New York City's Ivy League University. Secretary of Education Linda McMahon says that since Hamas's October 7th attack on Israel, Jewish students have faced relentless violence, intimidation, and harassment on campus, only to be ignored by those who are supposed to protect them. This after a joint anti-Semitic task force comprised of the Department of Justice, Health and Human Services, Education, and the General Services Administration recently announced it would conduct a comprehensive review of Columbia's federal funding. Since last spring, the school has a hotbed of pro-Palestinian protests, which have often turned violent. And multiple sources say the CDC is planning a large study into any possible connections between vaccines and autism. The news comes despite extensive scientific research already proving there's no evidence that vaccines cause autism. It's unclear whether U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who was an anti-vaccine activist for years, is involved in the study. This is an alarming measles outbreak sweeps through Texas, killing an unvaccinated child. An unvaccinated adult in New Mexico also died. It's 6:37 and 34 degrees outside here in Marcy under clear skies. WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone. Here's your full weather forecast.
That cold air is starting to get kicked out just a bit. By tomorrow, we are up near 60 degrees. Rolling on through today, seeing the clouds give way to sunshine, 48. Tonight, mainly clear, mid-30s. Tomorrow, sunshine up near 60. Then we'll get a front through. We're colder Wednesday, mostly sunny 40. I'm meteorologist Ray Stagik at the Weather Channel on WIBX, 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Standard's philosophy of the whole home approach is to diagnose the root cause of why you're uncomfortable and provide a customized solution that's permanent.
We want to take a look at the whole house, finding the right solution for you, and bringing in a whole team of people who are going to help identify rebates and programs. And those are not just for low-income homeowners. These programs are available for anybody that's looking to upgrade their system now.
Learn more at standardco.com. Call Standard today at 800-738-1424.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Hey, if you have ugly yellow toe fungus, you gotta hear about the secret 2-minute trick that I found for my husband. It works from both the inside and the outside. Thousands of people are using it to get rid of their toe fungus. You can check it out at crystalflesh.com. Jake started off with a small spot on his big toe and then it spread and got really bad. His toes were nasty. It was so embarrassing. He was afraid to take his socks off. He hid his yellow and crumbly toes from everyone. He tried everything to get rid of it. Nothing helped. And then we found crystalflesh.com. It was the only thing that worked. In just a few weeks, his toes looked amazing. He's now walking around barefoot again. You guys need to try this. I'm telling you, this stuff is different. It's not sold in stores, but go check it out at crystalflesh.com. They'll even let you try it risk-free so you have nothing to lose. But whatever you do, don't let it get worse. You don't have to live with this anymore. Go check it out now. Just click over to crystalflesh.com.
WIBX.
This is Keeler.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Now back to the Keeler Show.
Hey, Davey, we failed to mention while the Utica Pioneers were playing for their conference championship, Hamilton College has won their conference championship.
Oh, congratulations to the Continentals.
In men's hockey.
In the NESCAC.
They have a regular season run of 26-1. And they defeated Tufts College by a score of 3-0 over the weekend. Hamilton College's Charlie Archer made 32 saves and lifted the Continentals to their first conference title with a 3-0 win against the Tufts University Jumbos in the 2025 NESCAC Men's Hockey Championship Final inside Hamilton's Russell Sage Rink on yesterday afternoon. The Continentals are ranked number 8, were the number 1 seed for the championship. Hamilton, which is ranked 9th in the NCAA Power Index rankings, which we may see them in the division. Boy, wouldn't that be something if there was a Hamilton, Gary's alma mater, a Hamilton Utica battle. Wouldn't that be something?
That'd be awesome.
They're, as we said, 9th in the Power Index rankings, earned the conference automatic bid, so they're in to the NCAA Division III Men's Hockey Championship tournament. So there you go. This is going to be interesting as we're following Hamilton College in. Pretty wild.
Go Big H.
I had no idea.
And unfortunately, Colgate lost in their quarterfinal to
so that ends their
America.
season.
What was their final score?
Yesterday, they lost by 14.
Oof.
And that ends the season.
Yeah, and they won 4 in a row conference tourneys to get the automatic bid.
This is we're just used to seeing them show up in the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
Okay, I got a little bit here. This is interesting, and you wonder when people locally start seeing the effects of Elon Musk's cuts. Here is Donna. She said, Elon is screwing with wounded warriors. This begins today in Colorado. My daughter, one of their kids' head archery coaches, was unable to go. She's also in charge of archery for wounded warriors. In some cases, you're teaching. It's all about PTSD and about getting them. We see it here with Citron.
Yes.
It's part of the wheelchair basketball, which we'll be involved in. Anyway, but you see this, and it in some cases they're teaching someone who lost their arms in an explosion and while defending this country, and they're learning how to use a bow without any arms.
It's helping them realize that they're not, just because they suffered a massive injury, that their life isn't over and they could still enjoy and learn new abilities.
And this is the problem, is cuts are just being made. Nobody really knows what cuts are being made and to whom. And in this case, this hits veterans. She's also in charge of keeping in order the bows of all of the archers in the on the Marine team on Friday, Elon froze every worker's expense card that pays for flight transportation, hotel, and food, also allowing the private contractors to go who literally do not have a rapport with these wounded warriors, some with PTSD. My daughter does. So this is her daughter, not daughter-in-law. She's very upset and has been there for the last 15 years, guiding them, telling them what they need to correct and adjust bows if needed, helping them with the things that they can't do. Even training a warrior who lost both arms in battle how to shoot using their mouth. Not good. I'm all for cutting things. Not legit, like the stupid things that politicians sneak in budgets, but good, hardworking federal employees, military, especially wounded warriors, screwing the elderly is going too far.
You could tell the rage in that email.
Yeah, she's and that's when these things end up hitting home. Mike, while I'm not necessarily sold on the autism vaccine theory, it does seem to feel like there's a lot more autism and Down syndrome than when I grew up. One thing I think they should study is allergies. I really don't recall peanut allergies being a thing when I grew up, but now it is huge. By the way, I have a child who has a nut allergy, and it has reared its ugly head a few times. So
that is an interesting point.
I just had this conversation with my wife yesterday about are we seeing more cases of peanut allergies? Are we seeing more cases of autism? And her answer was, based even on her years of teaching, over 25 years, believe it or not, she feels that we just didn't diagnose this, and we're diagnosing much differently. And for people, like, just take a look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk would be a part of that because he's on the spectrum. So unlike what it was years ago, it's like a dyslexia. When I was growing up, dyslexia wasn't even a thing. In fact, everybody thought it was just not real, including one teacher who, a family member of ours, had dyslexia. It was a dentist, believe it or not, who had a child with dyslexia that really helped us back then. But we had one teacher that didn't believe in it. There's no such thing as dyslexia. Your kid is lazy. And so I do think that, now I'm not saying, I also wonder about cancer. Like, why are younger people getting cancer? Is it in our food? There's a very good chance that it is. But I do think that some of this is we diagnose things much differently today than we did 50 years ago.
Yes, we have gotten better at diagnosing, and your discussion about dyslexia reminded me of our former governor of Connecticut, Dan Malloy. He's dyslexic, and he was very, very passionate about how his difficulties were dismissed, and it influenced some of his decisions about teachers in the state of Connecticut. We're not going to go into that, but it was a sore topic for him. And when it comes to diagnosing autism, yes, the scales and the testing has gotten better. And you can see people who are very high functioning that you would not see or even think that they have autism. And then there are those who have the more behavioral
on the
issues.
spectrum.
But having that testing and that confirmation opens you up to resources in schools like the 504, certain plans, so these children and adults later in life can be successful.
Bill Morehouse this morning piping in. I always love it when he does because you never know what's going to come out of his mouth. Could we take a deep breath and let Trump do his job? Or do we have to listen to you two go on with your negative? Oh, God forbid anybody criticize Trump to Bill Morehouse. And I don't even know that we were criticizing Trump. Technically, we were talking about Elon Musk. But Bill, don't be so sensitive. I know Trump before country for Bill Morehouse. It's a whole new way of being patriotic. William, I get it. I really apologize for not coming in with flags and balloons and celebrating the cuts to the Wounded Warriors program. I am so sorry. I am so sorry, Bill. I know it upsets you. I know you get nervous, but I am really apologetic here. Yeah. Let's see, Wayne. Your wife is right. Ed, people used to hide this stuff. Like you just say, that kid is weird. I mean, that's what we did.
Yep.
Sadly, I know that's what Bill Morehouse did. He just said it about me. Even gay people used to hide the fact that they were gay. Why are there more gay people today? There aren't.
Yep.
Right? There really
They've
aren't.
always existed. Wasn't it not Dolly Parton? It was Joan Rivers who married someone who was in the closet. If you remember?
Yeah, I do think that happened a lot, and I do think it does happen. I think it still happens today. But maybe not. I have no idea. I really don't know.
We'll go into the statistics later in the 7 o'clock hour.
I'm waiting for Bill Morehouse's response to me. I wonder if it's coming. Car crash ended with a car submerged in a pool here in New York on Friday, and the police joked, quote, "While we do encourage carpooling, this is not what we had in mind." Here's an employee of the Aquatic Center and a firefighter talking about the accident that occurred over the weekend in New York.
It was quite scary at first because I heard I was in the locker room, so I was pretty close to when the scene happened. Big, loud crash through a window, and I had a feeling it was something bad.
There was a pool in the back. Some of the debris had gone into that pool, and there were people swimming laps, but fortunately nobody was injured.
Unfortunately, nobody was injured. Did you see the car that went through the car dealership, too? Drove right through the glass. Apparently, he had just gotten his vehicle. He was looking to get a trade-in, and they wouldn't give him enough on his trade-in, so somehow he got angry and drove the vehicle through the dealership.
Oh, yeah, that sure showed them.
Smashing through the windows and then later turned himself in.
You're giving me less money for my car? Now I'm going to make it worthless.
Texas stunt double being shot out of a cannon in California. I don't know if you have any knowledge of Rocket Man. His name is The Rocket Man, Chachi Valencia, and was performing in Texas, a stunt double, yes, being shot out of a cannon in California. Ended up getting hurt after he bounced off the net, which was meant to catch him, and it took him right to the ground. Here he is. He survived. Here he is talking about the unexpected bounce.
Right before the shot, I think the wind moved and it started crosswind, and the wind caught me and threw me off to one side. But then with the momentum and everything, I hit the net, but then I bounced out, pretty much. And I don't remember anything after I hit the net.
I don't remember anything after I hit the net. Yeah, quite a bounce that was. Davey, do I take line one? It's Tom. Tom in Utica. Hi, Tom. Good morning.
Howdy do. Listen, I just
howdy do to you. Howdy do.
Feeling bouncy here this early in the morning.
Yeah.
But when I heard you start talking about dyslexia, I'd like to mention that the Scottish Rite Masons have a dyslexia treatment center and training center for youth out at the Eastern Star Home in Oriskany.
Okay, all right.
And and they're going to have a big fundraiser here, fundraising dinner soon. I had and have dyslexia mildly, nothing compared to some of what these kids had. But I always wondered, I look back at my time as a piano student. And wondered why it took me such a long time to sight read music, and I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I had to really practice like crazy to get up to being a concert level pianist.
Are you I guess I did not know you're a concert level pianist.
I was at one time.
Yeah. Wow.
And I quit for photography.
Okay.
Photography pulled me away, but the trying to read music when the notes move, doesn't make the music sound very good.
Yeah.
And they would, and of course with a little eye vision problem. But the dyslexia has created a lot of tension. Just as anything that an undiagnosed circumstance. So thank goodness that the awareness of all of these troubles for children, like dyslexia and ADD, the real stuff, is being discovered and treated. And I'll send you something over, since you said you had somebody that was
well, it's since been it's I would like to see that, but it has since been treated. But we're going back into the 70s when the teachers just didn't, and the school just didn't believe in it.
Well, that's like when I got when my counselor, Mrs. Fox, brought me down to her office, and Tom, why does somebody with an IQ like yours just barely in the top half of the class, like a 2.0 or something like that? And I couldn't figure it out.
And now you know.
Finally, we're getting around to it, but progress will be made at the pace that it's made. Let's just be open-minded.
Although I do have to say, with my kids, we were going to a pediatrician who was big on ADHD, and I swear to God, everybody that walked through his doors was ADHD. Sometimes I think we do have a problem over-diagnosing. And I just you walk in, you're not doing well in school, you're getting in trouble from time to time. Yep, you're ADHD. Here's some medicine. And I think that's a problem too. So
it's a reaction.
Somehow you got to find a way, a happy medium to be able to, especially these things that are difficult to diagnose, right?
Yeah. Well, right now there's a reaction against the medications that are perfectly appropriate. For a lot of people, and now they're being denied.
Yeah.
So it's this big swing, goes back and forth and back and forth. I wish they could make their minds up. But listen, thanks for your concern about dyslexia and about all the other things that are stressors on youth.
All right, Tom.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
There you go.
Yeah. Makes a good point. And
then Donna pipes in. Donna's the one who had the Wounded Warrior who got us talking about this whole thing that really angered Bill Morehouse. My apologies, Bill. Very, very sad. I did not mean to step on your Trump toes. Allergy is the key word. Vaccines for the most part are good, but some do have an allergic reaction to what's in the vaccines. In addition, why aren't they blaming some ADHD or autism on the high intake of drugs, alcohol, and smokes in parents' bodies? Listen, when the child is born and they have an addiction to a certain drug, that has to have a negative effect, I would assume. Got a break. We have news coming up top of the hour. The county clerk is coming up here.
Hey guys, it's Lisa here from Fit Body Boot Camp. It's March Meltdown. What does that mean? We want to help you melt that stubborn body fat. Join us today for only $57. But hurry, that won't last long. Stop the madness and start your meltdown today with 2 convenient locations in Whitesboro and Clinton. What are you waiting for? The time is now to start living your best life. If you call us today or find us on Facebook, your first 3 sessions are free on me.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS.
Through HIMSS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs. Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/radio. To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX Utica, Rome,
W295EI,
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM, a Town Square media station.
They're going to make America rich again.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what President Trump insists, saying in Air Force One about tariffs returning to Washington.
We have many companies, as you know, auto companies are opening up plants now. We've had 4 or 5 announced already, but many more are coming.
Earlier, he hesitated, though, when asked on Fox Sunday Morning Futures if tariffs that are feared to lead to more inflation could lead us into recession.
There are always periods of, it takes a little time. It takes a little time. But I think it should be great for us. I mean, I think it should be great.
This as China's retaliation kicks in today. 10 to 15% tariffs on American exports, from beef, chicken, and pork to corn, cotton, wheat, and dairy products.
Today, the president is meeting with top tech CEOs from companies facing tariff-related pressure. They're rethinking their strategies as the administration implemented a 20% tariff on China.
The president, Fox's Madeline Rivera. The president also said this on Air Force One about Ukraine, that the U.S. has pretty much ended a pause put in place last week on intelligence sharing after Russian attacks.
We really just about have. And we want to do anything we can to get Ukraine to be serious about getting something done.
Tomorrow, Secretary of State Marco Rubio will lead U.S. talks with Ukrainian officials in Saudi Arabia.
Top U.S. officials met with Russian counterparts last month in Saudi Arabia. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky and President Trump publicly sparred in an Oval Office meeting a couple of weeks ago that ended without a long-sought minerals deal between the U.S. and Ukraine.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. Israel has cut off electricity to Gaza, increasing pressure on Hamas to extend the ceasefire, release the remaining hostages. A small plane crashed near Lancaster Airport in Pennsylvania.
Rescue 1, Lancaster Tower. The aircraft is down out just behind the terminal on the Park West Street area.
The crash set cars on fire, but nobody on the ground was hurt. All 5 people on the plane were injured. America's listening to Fox News.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit ConsumerCellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or ConsumerCellular.com today. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Canada is going to have a new leader this week amid all the trade uncertainty with the U.S. after President Trump imposed 25% tariffs on Mexican and Canadian imports last week and then delayed most of them for a month.
Canada's ruling Liberal Party has elected former central banker Mark Carney to take over for Justin Trudeau to serve as Prime Minister designate. Trudeau had announced in January he was stepping down. In his acceptance speech, Carney took aim at President Trump, saying he's using unjustified tariffs to attack Canada's economy.
He's attacking Canadian families, workers, and businesses, and we cannot let him succeed.
President Trump says Canada's been doing unfair trade with the U.S. for years. Carney may not be in the job for long. Canada is scheduled to hold its general election in October, but he could call for it sooner than that. Jill Nato, Fox News.
Now, concern that tariffs could lead to consumer price inflation remain a big issue on Wall Street, where stock futures are falling, down almost 400 points for the Dow. Coming off selling last week that dragged the Dow down a little over 1,000 points. The NASDAQ lost 3%. Big news in the NFL ahead of the free agent signing period that starts this week.
The Buffalo Bills and quarterback Josh Allen have agreed on a 6-year, $330 million deal. According to ESPN, $250 million of that is guaranteed, the most ever given to an NFL player. Allen had 4 years left on his old deal. Meanwhile, Browns defensive end Myles Garrett is now the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history, agreeing on a 4-year extension averaging $40 million per year, including $123.5 million in guaranteed dollars. Garrett had demanded a trade earlier this offseason. I'm Tim McMaster, Fox News.
On the NASCAR track, Christopher Bell won again, getting the checkered flag in Phoenix. That's his 3rd straight Cup Series race win. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Good morning. 7:05 under clear skies in Marcy. It is currently 34 degrees. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone. 2 people are in critical condition following a crash in the town of Paris. The Oneida County Sheriff's Office said the incident happened around 5:30 p.m. Saturday, where 29-year-old Yuma Bashir was driving on Route 8 when she lost control of her vehicle on the snow-covered road and collided with a car driven by Denise Land. Land and her 2 passengers were extricated from the car and were treated for non-life-threatening injuries at Wynn Hospital. Bashir and one of her passengers, 26-year-old Cody Bashir, are in critical condition, while 2 passengers that were in her car are in stable condition. The crash is under investigation. A Herkimer woman was arrested on drug dealing charges. Herkimer police say they executed a search warrant at the Galinsky apartments after receiving reports of an individual selling meth out of their home. Authorities searched the apartment of 43-year-old Tasha Dixon following a 2-month investigation and seized packaged meth, scales, and cash inside the residence. Dixon was arrested and charged with criminal possession of a controlled substance with intent to sell, which is a Class B felony. Dixon was remanded to Herkimer County Correctional on no bail due to having 2 prior felony convictions. She is due back in court at a later date. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell says the Fed is waiting for more clarity on President Trump's new policies before making a move on interest rates. Speaking at a policy forum in New York, Powell said, "We do not need to be in a hurry." He said the White House is implementing aggressive policy changes in trade, immigration, fiscal policy, and regulation. He doubled down on remarks he and his colleagues have made recently about patience on monetary policy through this uncertain period. And a new study shows a big jump in the number of cases of children in the U.S. being poisoned by fentanyl. The research looks at non-fatal pediatric fentanyl exposures reported to poison centers in 49 states from 2015 to 2023. In the 8-year study, researchers analyzed over 3,000 cases and found that pediatric exposure increased in children 12 and younger by 924%, and in those 13 and older by over 1,500%. Nearly half of all child fentanyl poisonings were considered life-threatening. It is 7:07, WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM. Here is your full weather forecast.
That cold air starting to get kicked out just a bit. By tomorrow, we are up near 60 degrees. Rolling on through today, seeing the clouds give way to sunshine, 48. Tonight, mainly clear, mid-30s. Tomorrow, sunshine up near 60. Then we get a front through. We're colder Wednesday, mostly sunny, 40. I'm meteorologist Ray Stagik at the Weather Channel on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
It's 34 degrees with clear skies and winds gusting up to 13 miles per hour today.
CDC recommends that people age 65 and older and those with moderate or severe immunocompromise should receive a second dose of seasonal COVID-19 vaccine 2 to 6 months after their last dose. Learn more and make an appointment at KinneyDrugs.com. Walk-ins are also welcome at all Kinney pharmacies.
The IRS is ramping up collection, and if you owe back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, listen carefully. Before it's too late, check your eligibility for the Fresh Start program still offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax problems. Call our special hotline number now and find out in minutes if you qualify for these life-changing debt reduction programs. Business or personal, if you're in a payment plan with no end in sight, have unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or finally just want to know your options, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief and stop collections immediately. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau with a 5-star rating from Yelp, this veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go at it alone. Call their hotline number now, 800-809-7716. That's 800-809-7716. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-809-7716 or go to republictaxrelief.com.
Open registration for the Boilermaker Road Race is live, and people are sprinting to Boilermaker.com to grab their racing bibs before they're gone, and they're going fast. More than half of the 15K running bibs have already been spoken for, so time is running out to reserve your spot at the starting line and punch your ticket to the world's best post-race party with live music, drinks, food, and surprises. This year's Boilermaker is shaping up to be bigger and better than ever. So run, don't walk to Boilermaker.com to sign up for one of America's favorite races. See you at the starting line on July 13th.
WIBX.
This is Keeler.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Now back to the Keeler Show.
Yes. Yes, Davey. Yes. Thank you, man. Okay, let's talk about something important. Making homes comfortable and efficient. When it comes to that, you need a team you can trust. A team that feels like family. We're talking about New York Sash. If you see light sneaking under your doors, this is a big tip that you're going to be feeling a draft. And man, with the wind over the weekend, holy moly. Wasted energy, wasted money. New York Sash can fix that with top quality entry and storm doors backed by a lifetime warranty. A family business, they understand the value of a job done right. They're not just selling doors, they're building relationships, oftentimes doing many different projects for the same family. Need a patio door? The patio doors are built. We have one of the patio doors. I keep saying the best way to tell is to put your bare skin against, in the coldest of weather, against that the glass on that door, and you'll be shocked. Not in a cold way. The temperature on the inside is pretty much the temperature of the door. You can read reviews. New York Sash has 5-star reviews pouring in. People rave about their quality, service, and commitment to doing things the right way. So if you're thinking about upgrading your home, trust the experts at New York Sash. Stop by their showroom on Oriskany Boulevard in Whitesboro today. See for yourself. It's worry-free, guaranteed for the life of the home. It's New York Sash. I have a whole bunch of comments. I do want to tell you that Friday morning, we are live on the road. You look disappointed about that, Davey. Oh, because you got to be back here. And there's a free breakfast included. So it's free breakfast for everybody. I believe the breakfast will be like 7 to 9 on Friday morning at Tony's in Washington Mills, where they have an amazing Italian buffet every day, every weekday. You can go in and load up on, I mean, you've been there, Davey, right? Say you want lasagna for dinner. You could have a little of it for lunch, but save the rest of it for dinner. And you could even feed a family of, I don't know, 2. I don't want to say this, but on one order, you go in, take it home. Enjoy it for dinner.
Frank's extended it until 8.
They're doing lunch and dinner now.
Right. I usually go for lunch.
So you can check it out at Tony's in Washington Mills. It has a ton of great items, fresh every day, and really, really good food. We'll be there Friday morning from 6 until 9 with a free breakfast Friday, and it is a bit of a send-off to our man Andrew Derminio, almost like you'd call it maybe it'll be like a bachelor party.
Bon voyage.
For Andrew.
Stag party.
Yeah, we'll bring in the strippers, and no, we won't. Davey would.
You need a DJ?
Doesn't Davey own a club?
Davey would be the DJ. He would be the DJ. He has contacts. Okay, I do have a lot of questions about they're pushing the real ID right now. Well, we've spent the extra to have the enhanced license, which means you can fly into Mexico. You don't need a passport. You could go into Canada. You don't need a passport. I think the enhanced license would cover it. I don't know. It might be an idea to check in with the county clerk, Mary Finnegan. Mary, good morning.
Good morning, Bill. How are you?
Good. Good to hear from you. And
yes.
I am wondering about, so why the push on the real ID? Have we reached that deadline where you got to at least have a real ID?
Well, yes, correct. So Homeland Security, after 9/11, implemented this new law. So it's finally upon us. And May 7th, 2025 is the deadline. So you will need either a real or enhanced ID to fly domestically. You'll also need it to enter a federal building.
Oh, you couldn't fly to Florida without the real ID.
Exactly. Any domestic flight.
Wow.
However, hold on. If you have a passport, you certainly still could.
Okay. So passport trumps everything, right? You can
Exactly.
you could go overseas with a passport.
Of course.
What about if you have the enhanced driver's license?
So if you have the enhanced driver's license, so I like to do it this way. We're going to take it in three steps.
All right.
If you have just a basic driver's license, you'll still be able to use it, obviously, to drive.
Okay.
Okay. So many older people. Let's take example. For an example, they may never plan on boarding a domestic flight again. They may never plan on entering a federal building again.
Mm-hmm.
So for their purposes, for an identification, that is fine. If they still drive, God bless them, that is fine.
Mm-hmm. God bless us.
They don't need a passport. They don't need a real or enhanced ID. Their regular license is fine.
Can I stop you? I know you're doing this in 3 parts, and I apologize, but I'm very, very slow. I'm on all the spectrums, I think. We were just talking about that. That's why I said that. Okay. So you can't enter a federal building without an enhanced ID?
A real ID.
A real ID. Wow.
Exactly.
So, okay, you're doing it in 3 parts. I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Unless you have a passport.
A passport.
Trumps all.
But an enhanced ID won't get me in?
Oh, yes, of course.
Okay,
but I'm saying if you only got the real, either real or enhanced, of course. And you know the symbol.
I don't. Hold on. I'm pulling my wallet out. Hold on. I got to do this.
Okay.
This is... So I literally, when I got the email from you to say it's time for an update, my wife and I were literally trying to go through our license to be able to determine if we have the enhanced license, and I'm pretty sure we do.
Okay.
So how can I tell?
What does your license show me?
Okay.
Does it have a flag?
It does. I have a flag in the lower right-hand corner.
You have an enhanced ID.
Okay. And on the flag it says, "Don't let this man drive." I don't know what that means.
Now, if you had a star, that's a real ID.
Okay. So that means this is as good as a real ID, but it also allows me to drive. This will get me into Canada. This will get me on a domestic flight. It'll get me into Mexico.
It'll only get you into Mexico by land or sea. You would still need a passport you'd still need a passport to fly to Mexico or Canada. It's only by land or sea.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Very confusing.
I'm not going to fly to Canada. I'm not going to fly to Canada.
Well,
anyways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I always say obviously we have a lot of hockey families here. So if they're going to drive into Canada, which they do quite often, an enhanced ID is what they would need.
Okay. All right. Got it. All right.
Okay.
So then and obviously you should check with, if you're flying overseas, you got to have a passport.
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, which is also my office. We also, issue passports as well.
Can I tell you, we did the whatever the fast pass is for when we travel overseas. And you can get them all over now. I think we got ours at Staples, and you have to fill out these certain things. And so
yes.
So what was the coolest thing is you go to the airport and there's a long line for security, and there's what is it called? Is it the
Clear check, I think.
Clear check? Whatever it is.
Yep.
Fly right through the line. Fly right through security. No lines. Now.
Don't have to take your shoes off.
You don't even have to take your shoes off. Now, what I find interesting, though, is over the course of the last 2 or 3 years, the pre-check, over the last couple of years, the pre-check line has gotten longer and longer.
Because guys like you announcing it on the radio.
That's exactly right. I should have kept my stinking mouth shut. So, and if you look over at the non-pre-check, the line was short. So even though we had that pass, I'm like, there's no line over there. Let's just go over there.
Yeah, I know. It's like a good restaurant. You got to keep that to yourself.
That's right. Don't tell anyone, otherwise you won't get in.
Anyone.
Yeah, that's a good point. I still can't get into this new place in Utica, the dessert place.
Which dessert place?
It's sold out. What's it called again?
With the fancy drinks?
Silk.
Yeah.
Silk.
Silk. Yeah. Have you been there yet?
Nope, can't get in.
Can't get in. Not even the county clerk.
The county clerk can't even get in.
You got to pull their license.
What is this world coming to?
This is terrible. They should be like, we're going to put you right in front of everybody else. Don't you know who she is? Listen, the place has got to be good because you can't get in right now.
I agree. I agree.
All right. So, where do you go to get? Obviously, you have to go to the DMV to get your real ID, or
exactly.
You can do it. Yeah.
So, just one thing about it, we really do not want anyone to be doing it online, because what we're finding is, which is also confusing, because it will say, if you go online, it'll say to upload your documents. Well, those documents are not coming to us because as people may not realize, the DMV is run by New York State.
Right.
We're simply, an agent of the state. So please do not upload your documents. You have to come in person, either to the Utica DMV or now. I'm very happy to announce that as of tomorrow, the Rome DMV is open again.
Wow. I was just going to ask you about the Rome DMV. Yeah.
Yes, it's open tomorrow, and I just want to give a shout-out to my staff, my first deputy, my supervisors, my MVRs, my assistant supervisors. Literally could not have done it without them. My staff is amazing, both in my office and in the DMV. Great staff.
That is Romans are going to love this.
Yes, but let's back up for 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Rome will be closed from 12 to 1 because we are a little short-staffed because after the tornadoes, we had to combine offices. Some people retired. Some people, just didn't like the situation. So we're a little understaffed. So there will be lunch closed from 12 to 1, and we are also only taking appointments, by appointment only in Rome. In Utica, you still come in person. Rome, by appointment only. You can go on the website to make an appointment. It's very simple. When you make that appointment, they're going to send you a text message. They're also going to send you an email. You're also going to get that a few minutes before that appointment is going to be upon you. You're also going to get that 24 hours beforehand. So a lot of checks and balances. Should be a very smooth transition. We're hoping to open late May, early June in person. We're just trying to get the staffing up there.
So right now, you cannot walk, even if you have to renew your registration or whatever, you cannot just walk in. You have to make an appointment to Rome.
To make an appointment. Yeah.
To be honest,
you can do that right on our website.
To be honest, I kind of like that. I mean,
you know what? It's really worked great in Utica. It's been working wonderful. We've really tested it over the past 6 months, and it's just been great. It's been flawless. I think people really, really, really appreciate it, and it's really working well.
Yeah. Let's see. So Donna ask if when renewing the license, not to have a middle initial, but the full middle name. Ask her if when renewing the license, if you have to have a middle initial, do you need the middle initial? Is that on your license?
No, you don't have to, but it's whatever your legal name is. If that appears on your birth certificate, whatever you're using as your legal name. Like I only use Mary Finnegan. I don't use my middle initial.
Mm-hmm.
So it's whatever you're using as your legal name.
Okay, whatever you're using. So, all right. I never lie on any of those documents, only about my height. I'm a pretty tall guy when you look at my driver's license.
I mean, you really are.
Yeah.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
yes.
Yep. Especially compared to really short people.
Yeah, you're doing well.
Okay, so Rome DMV opening, and these are the rules. Anybody else with any other questions on this stuff? How long before now you have a Connecticut license? Did you get a New York license yet? I'm talking to Megan, who's.
I was going to say no, I don't.
No, sorry. This is Megan.
Here's the thing.
Hi, Megan.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good. Happy Monday.
Do you have a Connecticut
Thank
license?
you.
I have a license where I really like the photo, and it's not going anywhere until it expires. And it's like a unicorn when you have a good driver's license photo.
Let me ask
I'm going to really
you.
bum you out.
Yeah.
I'm going to really bum you out now. Everyone be prepared. Hold on to your seats.
I'm holding.
You have to get a new photo when you get a real or enhanced ID. I know. I'm so sorry, but I figured it's better to break it to you now, Megan.
How long?
To break it to you now.
How long can she be here without and keep her Connecticut license?
It's going to be May 7th, no matter what. So you're going to need to change that.
Okay, by May.
Gotcha.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, May 7th. May 7th. That's the deadline.
All right.
It's gonna be May.
Okay, and Rome opens by appointment only tomorrow.
But yes, and
Okay.
I'd also like to say just very quickly that April is National Donate Life Month.
Okay.
And for anyone that doesn't know, the DMV is a big partner with Donate Life America. So if you're thinking about becoming a donor, April would be a great month to do it. Getting your enhanced or real license, you're going down. You may want to consider it. It's noted by a little heart on your license, and it says, I am a donor. So if anyone's thinking about it, that would be, it's just a great thing to do. Saving a lot of lives.
Saving a lot of lives. All right, great stuff. Yeah. And we appreciate the update. We should do this more often because people have a lot of questions.
Absolutely.
So. All right, Mary,
anytime. I'm more settled in. Thank you so much for your time, you guys.
Awesome.
Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
All right.
That is County Clerk Mary Finnegan, and that is pretty interesting. I do like I know that it's considered maybe an inconvenience, but I like the appointment thing. Sometimes you go to the DMV and you've got the longest of lines. You're going to stand there for an hour, maybe longer, Davey.
So with me living in Rome, with the office being open, I have to do my license. Obviously, I have to take care of the license now because I don't have an enhanced license. I just have a regular driver's license.
By May, you got to do it.
So I have to make an appointment online to go there now?
Right now. But you could go to another DMV.
Yeah.
You could go to another DMV.
Yeah. Okay.
I think there are 3 in Oneida County, right?
I rather just go to Rome because it's close.
Yeah. But starting tomorrow, appointment only, which I like because you're not going to be standing there all day. And she said that probably will go to just in person without an appointment later in the springtime. So there you go, Davey. But by May, you got to get that. Everybody's got to get it, apparently. Okay. Got a break. Coming up, we'll speak with the mayor of Utica, and he sent a letter to council members, and there is a mandatory meeting today. And listen, I think this is a world where the mayor will say we need a 9.9% tax increase. And everybody says, we don't believe you. We think you're making this up. We don't really believe you. There is a point where I think that it could have a real negative effect if there isn't some sort of an increase. We'll find out what that is, which means they're probably going to have to find a way to go over the tax cap, which would mean passing an extension of variance where they'd be allowed to go over the tax cap. Otherwise, he'll explain what happens with all of that. We'll speak with the mayor coming up in just a second. Stand by with that. Also, Megan with an update on the news. Hobica's free money question of the day this morning, Davey, is worth how much money?
$100. It's Monday.
$100. It's Monday. It's Monday. $100 on the line. Your chance to win comes up after news at WIBX.
Keep your Bobcat machines up and running this season, no matter how bad winter gets, with regular service from Warner Sales and Service in Rome, New York. Their factory-trained technicians are committed to keeping your Bobcat machines operating smoothly day after day, job after job, with genuine Bobcat parts. So keep going and keep earning, even in the coldest weather, with regular service on your Bobcat machines from Warner Sales and Service in Rome. Genuine Bobcat parts and service. Why use anything else? Stop by your authorized Bobcat dealer, Warner Sales and Service in Rome. Online at warnerss.com.
We're the power and power equipment, White's Farm Supply.
At Kubota, we want to help you deliver a job done right. That's why we want you to know that new Kubota inventory is arriving daily. You have work to do. We have the reliable, durable, and versatile lineup to help you do it. Visit us at whitesfarmsupply.com.
We're the power and power equipment, White's Farm Supply.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS.
Through HIMSS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs. Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/radio. To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit.
Good morning. It is 7:29 and 33 degrees. It's the morning dip where it gets a little bit chillier before it warms up. Your full weather forecast is coming up next on WIBX. Your news is brought to you by IBEW 43 Local Sports Desk. A 3-week wildcat strike by corrections officers at a New York State prison may be over. The Department of Corrections announced over the weekend that a new agreement was reached with the union representing employees. The terms require that 85% of striking workers return to work today in order for the agreement to take effect. The jackpots of the nation's two most popular lotteries are soaring. There was no grand prize winner in Saturday night's Powerball drawing, pushing that jackpot up to $335 million. Ahead of the next drawing tonight, that means a lucky winner or winners taking the cash option would walk away with just over $157 million. And no one had any luck with the grand prize and Mega Millions on Friday, so that jackpot jumps up to $256 million, with the next chance to strike it rich coming Tuesday. With the 4 wildfires that wreaked havoc all weekend on eastern Long Island now under control, attention is turning to what may have caused the fires. It took firefighters well over 24 hours to gain control of the 4 fires that started around 1 o'clock Saturday in the afternoon along Sunrise Highway in eastern Suffolk County. Around 600 acres were burned in the blazes, and 2 commercial properties were damaged. Suffolk County Police Commissioner Kevin Catalina said they will get to the bottom of what caused the fires as they continue to interview 911 callers and have arson detectives in the sky studying the remnants of the scene. He says at this point it's too early to tell what sparked the wildfires. And the NASDAQ is planning to introduce 24-hour trading as demand grows globally for U.S. stocks. The plan needs regulatory approval along with coordination with other major players in the industry. It's expected the NASDAQ Stock Exchange will go to 24-hour trading during the week of the second half of next year. This is all according to a post on LinkedIn by NASDAQ President Tal Cohen. In October, the New York Stock Exchange announced it would offer trading 22 hours a day during the work week. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM. It is 7:31. Here is your full weather forecast.
That cold air starting to get kicked out just a bit. By tomorrow, we are up near 60 degrees. Rolling on through today, seeing the clouds give way to sunshine, 48. Tonight, mainly clear, mid-30s. Tomorrow, sunshine up near 60. Then we get a front through. We're colder Wednesday, mostly sunny, 40. I'm meteorologist Ray Stagik at the Weather Channel on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
It is 7:32 and 33 degrees in Marcy under mostly sunny skies. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone.
Thank you, Megan. And Davey, we're looking for caller number what for Hoboken's free money question of the day? 5. And then we'll get the mayor in here, and he is on fire. This mayor is on fire. Remember that? Remember that, Buck? That was your writing. Remember that? I remember it well. But this mayor, I think, really is on fire. Today, big meeting, right? We're going to get into it coming right up. Fair enough. Good.
Fair enough.
You're feeling better?
I'm notching in the right direction.
I'm going to tell you something. This stuff, I don't know what it is, but it hits you and it doesn't go away.
But I got to tell you, Friday's run made a bigger difference than anything I've done.
Yeah.
So if there's anything I could tell people, if you're feeling that
sweat
way,
it out. Sweat it out. Yeah.
Get out there, get some air.
Richard Simmons used to say the same thing. Sweat it out to the oldies. Isn't that what was his big thing?
Yeah, which is now like Stone Temple Pilots, unfortunately.
I
But
think
okay.
it is, yeah. I think you're right. All right, quick break. We're looking for caller number 5 right now at 315-736-0186. Great question. Topical and worth $100 from Hobica and WIBX.
Hey guys, it's Lisa here from Fit Body Bootcamp. It's March Meltdown. What does that mean? We want to help you melt that stubborn body fat. Join us today for only $57. But hurry, that won't last long. Stop the madness and start your meltdown today with 2 convenient locations in Whitesboro and Clinton. What are you waiting for? The time is now to start living your best life. If you call us today or find us on Facebook, your first 3 sessions are free on me.
Are you sick of being just a number or doing a mindless job? Become a craftsman in a trade. Become an IBEW electrician. The IBEW and the Electrician Training Alliance will give you all the tools necessary at their state-of-the-art training facility. Earn as you learn. Paid training while you get your certification. What are you waiting for? Become an IBEW Local 43 electrician. Call or go online today to learn more. Find your career at IBEW and let the Electrician Training Alliance light up your future.
BME Company Business Machines and Equipment has been delivering office solutions for businesses in upstate New York for over 30 years. Their success comes from finding the right document management strategies and software solutions for streamlining workflows. Simply put, BME provides fast, reliable service at the best value to keep your business running smoothly. Through BME's strategic partnership with Hummel's Office Plus, they distribute supplies for just about every machine in your office at a great price. BME welcomes the opportunity to serve your business, selling, leasing, and servicing Canon and Kyocera devices, as well as FP mailing solutions. An important part of BME's culture is supporting the communities they're fortunate to work in, and BME recognizes that support is one reason for their success. The future of business in BME's area is encouraging, and the company is grateful to be a part of that growth. Call BME Company at 315-574-8200 or visit BMEcompany.com. BME Company Office Solutions. Made simple.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
WIBX. This is Keeler. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. Now back to the Keeler Show.
Okay, Mike this morning. Oh, great. Buck is in the studio. I don't think he said that. I think he's positive. It's a guy named Mike. I don't know. Very odd. Mike says, if Megan doesn't get a new license by May, ICE will deport her back to the state she came from. I believe that might be true, Megan. Could very well be. And I need a passport to fly to Mexico, but if I have a driver's license, I can bring in guns and drugs by car. So my answer to that is, I don't think you need any ID to bring in the guns and the drugs. I think you just, well, you used to be welcome. Now there's nobody coming over. Nobody coming across that line. It's time for Habaika's free money question of the day. It is this morning worth $100, and the Habaika Law Firm for your legal needs. 315-724-1600 is the number. Rob is in New York Mills. Good morning, Rob. Good morning.
Morning, Bill.
How you doing, man?
I'm good.
You were a not so recent, but a winner the last time you were on, I think, right?
No, that is incorrect.
Yeah, sorry.
2019, I won.
2019. All right, so you got a bad streak going. We're going to try to beat that. Let's beat it up. Are you ready, Rob?
Yep.
You're going to have 7 seconds. Megan, you know what you're doing over there to run this thing?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, here we go. Here is your question. I said it's topical. How about the fact that Gene Hackman died after his wife? She died of a virus, and he must have had Alzheimer's so bad that he ended up dying like a week to 10 days later.
That's just terrible.
After his wife. That's just crazy. And then the whole thing, it's like, what was going on there? She caught some disease from mouse and rat droppings.
Yeah, hantavirus.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, Rob. I digress. You ready?
Yeah.
That was a little clue because it's going to be about Gene Hackman. Here we go. Here is your question. The Gene Hackman classic Hoosiers had a different movie title in some overseas countries. What was the alternative movie title? Ready, go. Yeah, anybody on this one? Mayor, you should know this. I don't know that you would know this.
I don't.
I wouldn't have known it had I not been watching TV over the weekend, and this is where this question came from.
I was wondering.
It was called Best Shot. In Europe, the movie was not called Hoosiers. It was Best Shot.
Interesting.
I guess because they wouldn't know what Hoosiers really was over there.
Oh, that could be.
So they named
got to be
it-
more context sensitive. Yeah.
Here, Hoosiers is it works. Buckley, you don't even believe me on this. It's true. It's Best Shot is the answer. Yeah.
The film commissioner doesn't know the answer.
Rob, here's what I'm going to do for you. The film czar is what we call him. This is what I'm going to do for you. Are you ready? We're going to give you, make sure I'm supposed to do this here, and I am. We're going to give you a family 4-pack to the family 4-pack to, hold on, a family 4-pack. It doesn't say on the sheet what I'm giving. Is it the camping thing, Davey?
It's a Big East Sporting camping show at the fairgrounds.
Okay. It does not say it on this paper.
That doesn't do anything for me, Bill. I'm sorry.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. Now I want you to go, and it's at the Syracuse Fairgrounds, right? So I got a 4-pack there, and we'll give you the $25 food and fun card, which is good at Babes and the Odd and Nexus and all that stuff. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
You're not happy, are you?
No,
Hey,
I am happy.
It was a good question. That's a really good question, right? Maybe it should have been for more money.
I'm going to call every day.
Okay, you keep trying. You didn't win. You can keep trying. So stand by. Davey's going to hook you up. Thank you, Rob. Rob wants, every time I have him on, Rob wants to win tickets. I think it was Britney Spears tickets for his daughter.
2019, that makes sense.
Goes way back.
That's what you said, right?
Yeah, it wasn't 2019.
Yeah.
I think you can, if you find the community where she lives, you could go to that community, and she puts on free shows. She's all over the place, like oddness.
Well, I was going to say, I don't think she had control of her own life in 2019.
That's a good point. He ate a raw onion in its entirety, like an apple, in order to win tickets for his kid.
That's solid.
That's a dad right there.
Well, that's what I say. What you do for your kids.
That's right. What are you willing to do?
Well, that would be a game show.
In studio right now, that would be what would you do for your kid? And even worse than that, as a dad, what would you do for your daughter?
Wow.
Yeah, not good. Not good at all. All right, the mayor is in. I'm told, listen, we have a recommended tax increase of close to 10%.
Well, it's the budget proposal. There's a process.
I knew exactly where you were going when you told me a few weeks back. Let's just say it's not double digits, and you came right up to the. I mean, almost 10%.
Right
now, one would expect maybe that's going to be drawn back a little bit.
Yes, that was my expectation,
and maybe like the 3 or 4% is what Bill Morehouse told us.
Okay.
Which means you're most likely going to need to go over the tax cap.
Correct.
What is the real? People keep saying 2%. What is the number? What is the real tax cap?
All right, so I'll answer that, but really quick. There's a meeting this evening. That's why I'm on today. That's a special meeting called by Rocco Giaruzzi, the council president.
Okay.
But then there's also a meeting tomorrow evening at Munson in the auditorium, in which case I will be on stage speaking to the people, interacting with them about the budget.
Okay.
Public meeting. But then also the second piece is St. Elizabeth's. I have my staff from UED explaining not only what is going on, what's the status, but how to interact with that public comment period so you can actually get answers.
Do you have any new information to give on St. E's?
Well, the public comment, which is 60 days long, people can interact with that.
All right.
60 days, but here's the thing. If you don't ask your questions correctly, we learned this from the hospital, you literally won't get an answer because that's part of a state process.
Right.
So we want to help people with that as well, so that if they're going to interact, they get something back. And then the third piece of that evening at Munson tomorrow is going to be a discussion on what we're doing for all of the new business development issues and initiatives. Because really, over the past 4 years, when we were spending all that ARPA money from 2020 to the end of 2023, we didn't do anything really for business development. So we have to get that going again. Otherwise, the community will lose momentum.
Do you really think you're going to get to the business development part? I don't think so.
Yes.
You're going to be the conversation will be consumed by the hospital.
But as council president, I learned how to run those types of discussions.
All
So, the budget director spent countless hours with NICOM, New York Council of Mayors, and the controller's office because there's been all this discussion.
What is the
It's
actual?
2.1. That's the number. That's the numbers. 2.1. That's the current understanding from the state controller's office.
See, we often get caught up in this title that the governor at the time, Cuomo, gave a 2% tax cap. When in reality, there's a formula you end up having to follow. And it's
but if you go back
2.1.
if you go back to when he proposed it, when Andrew Cuomo proposed this, he proposed it as 2% or COLA. Once it went through the legislature, it became the lesser of the two, which is why this became so impactful. Because now if you have rapid inflation from 2020 till now.
What happens if you can only, so you could go up to 2.1.
Right.
Without any
If they don't waive
issues.
it, yes.
What does that do to the city if that's the number?
Well, effectively, and that's my concern. That's why I talked to the council president. He called this meeting. I sent that letter, made sure I talked to all the council people, reached out to every single one, met with a few of them as well. Some of them did take a meeting with me. What it means is roughly, it's just above $2.5 million that would have to be cut from the budget. Now, to put that in perspective, why am I so concerned about the fact that this just wasn't waived?
Right.
Because I wouldn't want to be waiving this just flippantly. The whole point of this tax cap in the first place is if a mayor or an administration or a city is doing something frivolous.
Yeah.
Like we want to spend $3 million on some building and put a name on it. The council could say, we're not waiving the tax cap for that because that's irresponsible, right? This is all connected to increases like health care,
It doesn't
state
usually,
retirement.
unfortunately, though, it doesn't often get used that way.
Correct. So
School
here we
districts and with municipalities.
Right, so here we are.
It's even harder for a school district to go above the tax cap.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So why did Rocco Giaruzzi call this meeting, the council president? Why did I send that letter? Because this has been a very bizarre budget season. Now, if the council seemingly has already decided, well, the majority, if you will, that they're just going to waive the tax cap. Now, I did a budget presentation when I presented the budget. I presented that after work hours. Big complaint about the budget presentation is no one could ever go to the mayor's budget presentation because it was like at 10 a.m. Council people are jobs, etc. I didn't. The only people that were there for the entirety of the presentation were the two people who sit on the board of E&A. So I would have expected this majority to be there. They were not. But
doing this tomorrow night at what time?
Well, no, tonight. This is a special meeting tonight. The other piece of this,
But you also have Munson.
Right, but that might take a different tone of how I interact with the public if we know we have to cut a certain, you know what I mean? It's different. It's a different type of discussion. Here's the other piece. The Common Council met with all the departments like they always do. I was one of them. They didn't really ask any questions. It was very eerie. There was no discussion like, hey, by the way, if we're going to cut $1 million out of your budget, where do you think it might come from to impact the community the least?
That's because this is more political than it is anything else.
Well,
you know that's the case.
Right, but I'm going to keep operating until the deadline as if I'm trying to get everyone to work together for the community.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the purpose of this meeting tonight is...
So will you tell us where will the $2 million cuts come from?
Well, so that's the problem, is the budget's in the council's hands right now.
Yeah.
They're the ones who are making the decision right now. And that's the other thing. If we're all flying blind, the community's flying blind. I don't know where those cuts are going to come from. They haven't put the amendments forward. So the other problem is I can't even look at it and say, hey, if there's an amendment that tries to use CDBG funding, which is over $700,000 for, say, general revenue purposes, I can't even give the recommendation that, by the way, we can't do that with federal funds.
Hold on.
So what if it doesn't happen?
Paul? Buckley? Yes. Could you get a different shot? I mean, that's an awful shot. I mean, I just look like I put on 50 pounds. Could you take my B-roll shot from over his shoulder?
I love it.
Do you mind?
I love it.
Listen, I'm on the road. I'm down 10 pounds,
Listen,
but
let me
not
tell
even
you something.
close.
If there's anything I won't let happen,
you
look bad on video.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate it. So, but if you take from over the shoulder, I'm not going to look as fat.
I love this.
I was going to put the logo on the back of your hat.
You're a doozy.
No, but in all seriousness,
I'll move in the right place for a good serious B-roll.
So the biggest concern here is we're flying blind. If they're going to get this down to 2%, none of us know where it's going to come from. The department heads are very concerned. The people who work for the city are very concerned because $2.5 million is literally the amount of money that you would have to eliminate all of City Hall. Right. So it's a lot. You know what I mean? Just to run the streetlights for a year, it costs us $1.4 million.
You're not going to shut them off.
Well,
although I'd appreciate it.
Where is the money going to come from?
Right.
So here's the thing. If that was answered, if there was any semblance of what the plan was, the council president wouldn't have called this meeting. And we would not be very concerned that the tax cap has been waived and we're not exactly sure what is going on.
What do you say to the person who will say, you already have a tax percentage. By increasing that percentage, why do you need more? And the answer is the revenue coming in does not meet the level that is needed in order to handle the increases, most of which, and I think you can talk to this, I know you can, most of which is mandated. You don't have any choice, these increases.
All of last year's increase and all of this year's increase is mandated. But the public doesn't care about that. The taxes are going up, right? So I'm putting myself in the public's perspective. Okay, so now I'm John Q. Public. Okay, council, you want to not waive the tax cap, but $2.5 million is the entire parks budget. You know what I mean? Like, that is the street lights plus an entire controller's office and an entire engineering department. Like, I want to know, how is the city going to function? Because here's the other thing, right? We didn't have discussions on that. We didn't have discussions, even though I've explained this and I made myself available for questions a multitude of times and throughout the whole year, by the way. Not only my department heads, but me as a mayor, I've been to the council meetings to explain things, to just be available more than the previous administration had been in 12 years over the past year. So there's no shortage of me working with the council on matters. We haven't even gotten to things like basic infrastructure liabilities or court mandated liabilities. Next year, the SAFER grant. Remember, we hired those 8 firemen?
Yeah.
Those 8 firemen. Okay. We have to pay for those 8 firemen now out of pocket.
This was one of the
next 2
questions
years. Right? It was one of the questions when this happened. Mm-hmm. So next year, without me doing anything again, without Mayor Galimi adding anything to the discretionary budget, that fire line is going to go up $1.1 million again next year. And now we're arguing. So my point is, we didn't have any of the real discussions before they decided not to waive this cap. I don't want to see taxes go up either, but every single penny of what's happened last year and what's proposed this year, which I didn't expect it to actually be 9.7. The council always works with the administration to bring it down. Every single penny of that has gone to mandated expenses. We recognize that we have to cut things. That's why the actual discretionary budget has either been getting redistributed if we want to add youth services or cut over the last 2 years. So the bottom line is tonight, the meeting was called. I'm hoping we come to the table for the discussion. If there isn't quorum, me and the department heads and the council president are just going to sit there and we're going to figure it out, because the reality is, if the money gets cut, I'm still the mayor and I have to run the city.
So you will have to make cuts.
Well, the money, let's just say.
Will you have to make cuts?
Well, this is how the tax cap works. If there still is a tax rise and they can't figure it out, we can't figure it out, the people still get taxed.
You can't touch the money, though.
Can't touch the money. The money goes into a reserve account. Okay. So we will have to do something. Yeah. It's just the reality of it. So
how do you react?
We're flying blind.
You want to hear from your public? The public, how do you react? Galimi is a one and done. We cannot afford his tax increases. He will not get reelected.
Yes. And you know what? For the comments that come like that, we have a ton of comments coming in writing about the fact that we do have to maintain services.
Look at the council meeting. Do you still accept that? I mean, if somebody's saying I won't vote for him because of that, you still are. You have to do what you have to do.
I ran for mayor because I knew the city was suffering from absolute political control and kind of ignorant politics. That's how the city was running. Mm-hmm. Okay. And the reason we're here now is because we didn't want to accept the fact that we had to pay for the money we were borrowing. We didn't want to accept the fact that in 2018 it was known we had to do $6 million worth of ADA compliance work and completely ignored it. You know what I mean? These are the things that caught up with us.
Can you make up some of that with borrowing from the fund balance?
Well, there's already coming out of reserves in this budget $4 million.
Okay.
Of the fund balance. And you know, the reality is financially the city's moving in my goal here is to fix the financial footing of the city. Last year, if you had to balance the budget with only a tax increase, it was over 26%. But we didn't do that. We worked together and didn't do that. We appropriated funds. But this year, if you want to balance the budget with only a tax increase, it'd be over 20%. But that's less. around 20-21%, right? So we are moving the city in the right direction. The key is we're tapped out as far as property tax.
Yeah.
And that is why I'm advocating for the different funding sources from Albany. That is why I'm coming to the council in a few weeks with the resolution so we can authorize going to the state with the bed tax so that we can actually find other revenue sources, because we are tapped out property tax wise. My personal taxes on my home, okay, $8,500 a year at this point before any tax rise. Okay. Now the percentage only gets applied to the city portion, but our property taxes are tapped out. We need the state
what we
to
wouldn't
recognize,
give,
which the controller mentioned that last week.
What we wouldn't give for an $8,500 tax bill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I understand. It's but these are tough decisions.
But the one and done comments, right? The one and done comments.
Yeah.
I made a commitment when I ran that I wanted to make sure the city would be appropriately run. The city could support itself and the city would not go bankrupt. The city would still have services. Now, that doesn't mean we can't cut things.
Yeah.
But saying we're going to just, without any plan moving forward, cut $2.5 million out of the budget, because you got to remember, a lot of that budget, $2.5 million doesn't sound like a lot when you look at 93 million.
Right.
But we can't cut healthcare. That's almost 17 million. We can't cut retirement contributions. We can't cut the mandated expenses. So when you look at $2.5 million out of like the pieces of the budget that aren't mandated by state law, mandated by things like we're not going to cut people's health care, that's a lot of money. So I'm just curious where it's going to come from.
And that's today's meeting.
That's today's meeting. But I don't necessarily want to know myself. What I do know right now, because there was zero interaction, the council has not talked to the departments even about where it's going to come from.
Right.
Which is
They're
very
just
concerning.
saying no.
They're just saying no.
Yeah. All right. Mayor Galimi, we appreciate it. Thank you. And I have some other comments we'll get to, and we appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Quick break, and we'll come right back here. News coming up top of the hour, WIBX.
Every once in a while, something that sounds too good to be true is actually, in fact, true. How would you like up to $4,000 of free windows? And when I say $4,000 of free windows, I mean $4,000 of free windows. No gimmicks or games. You don't have to buy $4,000 to get $4,000 free. You just get up to $4,000 of free windows through Patriot Home Solutions and NYSERDA. Of course, some restrictions apply, but none of these restrictions are income-based, and you don't have to sit through a long, drawn-out sales presentation. Give Patriot a call at 315-401-0440, and they can quickly tell you over the phone if you qualify or how you can get qualified. That's 315-401-0440. These aren't any windows. They're high-quality, custom-fitted windows designed to save energy and keep the cold air out all winter. Your window solution is Patriot Home Solutions. Online at patriothomesolutions.com.
Sorry, I got caught up with the mayor. My apologies. Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. Let me tell you about Steve Ponte Mazda Commercial Drive in Yorkville. Gotta say, love my CX-90, and any of these Mazdas are red hot right now. Hot vehicles that are just doing really, really incredibly well. The CX-90 is just one of those in the fleet. CX-30s, CX-5, CX-50s, CX-70s. But the beauty on top of all of this is Steve Ponte Mazda on Commercial Drive in Yorkville is ranked number one, not locally, nationally. Number one nationally in customer satisfaction. And right now you can save on all sorts of in all sorts of different ways. Enjoy 0.9% APR financing on new 2025 Mazdas, or get an incredible lease. Just talk to Rick and say, I need a deal. As he says, let's make your deal on a new Mazda. It's Steve Ponte Mazda Commercial Drive in Yorkville. And portions of today's program brought to you by GPO Federal Credit Union. Simplify your finances with balance transfer rates as low as 3.99% APR for 12 months, or consolidate high-interest debt into one manageable payment with their personal loans. But they don't stop there. GPO has partnered with a program called Balance to provide you with free virtual or in-person sessions with financial advisors. You can come in, Paul. I'll get to you in a second. Why wait? Let GPO help you. Go to gpofcu.com or stop by any branch today. Subject to credit approval, membership eligibility required. Rates and terms based on credit worthiness. Balance transfer rates revert back to normal card rate after the 12th month. Contact GPO for details.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX Utica, Rome. W295EI. WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM. A Town Square media station.
China targets American farmers and ranchers. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Its new retaliatory tariffs went into effect today, 10 to 15% on American exports.
This includes imports of chicken, soy, beef, and pork. Beijing firing back after President Trump raised tariffs on imports of Chinese products to 20%, with President Trump declaring that China, Canada, and Mexico have not done enough to stop the flow of fentanyl and the chemicals used to make the synthetic opioid from entering the U.S.
That's Fox's Kristen Goodwin. The president has delayed the tariffs on most imports from Canada and Mexico, and he insists that tariffs will be great for the U.S., saying an Air Force One headed back to Washington.
I think the tariffs are going to be the greatest thing we've ever done as a country. It's going to make our country rich again.
But the president was hesitant when asked on Fox Sunday Morning Futures if tariffs, feared to cause more inflation, could lead to a recession.
I hate to predict things like that. There is a period of transition.
Fox Business Network Cheryl Casoni reports.
Last night on Air Force One, he was asked by a reporter, you hesitated about the word recession. And he said, well, of course you hesitate. Who knows? So we don't know. Markets are jittery, let's be honest. Now the markets, as of Friday, are now...
Missiles landed in the sea after being launched from a southwestern province of North Korea. Just hours earlier, South Korea had begun its annual Freedom Shield command post exercise with the United States, an exercise North Korea views as the two allies rehearsing an invasion.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. In Gaza, Israel has cut off electricity. That's also affecting drinking water to increase pressure on Hamas to extend the ceasefire and release the remaining hostages. Hamas calls Israel's action a continued starvation, days after Israel cut off food and other aid shipments. America's listening to Fox News.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit ConsumerCellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or ConsumerCellular.com today. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
The House could vote as soon as tomorrow on a plan to avoid a government shutdown ahead of a Friday funding deadline.
Problem Solvers Caucus co-chair Congressman Tom Suozzi, a New York Democrat, says our fractured government can get in the way.
There's been offers to negotiate, and there's been very little negotiated. It's kind of been a my way or the highway type of thing.
Suozzi's co-chair, Pennsylvania Republican Ryan Fitzpatrick, said there's also a matter of a razor-thin margin in the House.
The construct in this country is if you get 218 votes, you get everything, and if you get 217 votes, you get nothing.
Both said on CBS Face the Nation they don't favor single-party bills, and they will seek bipartisan agreement on keeping government running. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
And we mentioned the Wall Street selling. Dow futures are down more than 400 points before today's trading. Oil prices have also fallen lately, about $67 a barrel now. And at the pump, analyst Trilby Lindbergh surveys stations and reports.
We've had a 7 cents per gallon drop in the price of regular grade gasoline in the past 2 weeks. The new price is $3.18.
AAA's national average for regular, dime less than hers at $3.08 per gallon. And now to NASCAR, where one driver's dominating.
Something special is happening with Christopher Bell to start the NASCAR Cup season.
Off turn 4, Bell edges ahead and wins 3 in a row. Wow, that was awesome.
Courtesy Fox, after back-to-back wins in Atlanta and Austin, Bell did it again in Phoenix Sunday, this time holding off teammate Denny Hamlin on the final restart with 2 laps to go. Kyle Larson also made a late run but settled for third. Tim McMaster, Fox News.
In the NFL, days before a flurry of free agent signings, the Buffalo Bills have given quarterback Josh Allen a new contract that'll pay Allen the NFL MVP last season. $330 million over 6 years. $250 of that is guaranteed. That's the most for an NFL player ever. The Cleveland Browns signed Myles Garrett, a star defensive end, to a $40 million a year deal. That's the most for a non-quarterback ever. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Good morning. It is 8:05, your news time on WIBX. 33 degrees in Marcy. Mostly sunny skies with winds up to 10 miles per hour. Your full weather forecast is coming up next. I'm Megan Stone. A Utica man was arrested for failing to register as a sex offender. New Hartford police say 67-year-old Charles Fisher had moved from his New Hartford home without informing police of his new address in Utica. New Hartford police said they were unable to locate Fisher and obtained a warrant for his arrest. Authorities were able to locate him Wednesday within the city of Utica, and police there arrested him on that warrant. Fisher is a level 3 registered sex offender, and he was charged with a count of failing to register as a sex offender, which is a Class E felony. Fisher was remanded to Oneida County Jail. A sheriff's sergeant was hospitalized following a crash in Rome. The Oneida County Sheriff's Office said 61-year-old Nancy Lambrazo of Rome was driving on South James Street when her car left its lane and struck a sheriff's office patrol vehicle driven by Sergeant Noah Danker. Both vehicles ended up in a ditch on the side of the road. Lambrazo was treated at the scene and released, while Sergeant Danker was treated at a local hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. The accident remains under investigation, and charges are possible once it's complete. Multiple sources say the CDC is planning a large study into any possible connections between vaccines and autism. The news comes despite extensive scientific research already proving there's no evidence that vaccines cause autism. It's unclear whether U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's been vocally against vaccines for years, is involved in the study. It's an interesting time for such an investigation as a massive measles outbreak sweeps through Texas and New Mexico due to declining vaccination rates. And with the Real ID deadline only a couple of months away, some New York DMV offices will be open Saturday starting next month. From April 5th through June 28th, it's been confirmed that the Bronx, Harlem, Midtown, Richmond, Brooklyn, Atlantic, Coney Island, and College Point district offices will be open 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Saturdays. The offices in Garden City and Medford on Long Island, as well as Yonkers, will also offer the expanded hours, as DMV offices are expected to be busy. Starting May 7th, adults will need a Real ID to board domestic flights. It is 8:07. Here is your Weather Center forecast.
That cold air starting to get kicked out just a bit. By tomorrow, we are up near 60 degrees. Rolling on through today, seeing the clouds give way to sunshine, 48. Tonight, mainly clear, mid-30s. Tomorrow, sunshine up near 60. Then we got a front through. We're colder Wednesday, mostly sunny, 40. I'm meteorologist Ray Stagik at the Weather Channel on WIBX, 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
Sunshine conditions all day. It is currently 33 degrees in Marcy. Your sports is brought to you by the IBEW 43 Local Sports Desk. NFL free agency is off to a crazy start before the official start of the new league year. On Wednesday, free agents can begin negotiating with teams when the legal tampering period opens today at noon. According to ESPN, the Jets have already made a move to retain middle linebacker Jamian Sherwood. The Green and White signed Sherwood to a 3-year, $45 million contract that includes $30 million in fully guaranteed money. Josh Allen set a new standard across the NFL. The Bills have signed their franchise quarterback to a 6-year, $330 million contract through the 2030 season. The deal includes $250 million in fully guaranteed money. It's the largest guaranteed total given to an NFL player since the Cleveland Browns signed quarterback Deshaun Watson. The Yankees may have lost their ace for the season. According to The Athletic, right-hander Garrett Cole has been recommended to have Tommy John surgery. The team is waiting for a second opinion to confirm treatment options. Cole has pitched 6 innings in 2 starts this spring. He allowed 6 runs on 5 hits, including 2 home runs to the Minnesota Twins last week. The 34-year-old missed a significant amount of time last season after being shut down in spring training with elbow discomfort. The Yankees also came up short after falling to the St. Louis Cardinals 6-5 in Jupiter. The team is waiting for a second opinion to confirm treatment options for Garrett Cole. New York is 7-7 and will host the Detroit Tigers this afternoon in Tampa. And the Mets outlasted the Washington Nationals after collecting a 7-6 win in Port St. Lucie. New York is 6-8 and continues Grapefruit League play when it hosts the St. Louis Cardinals tonight. And the first round of the ACC tournament is tomorrow. Syracuse is 13-18 and takes on Florida State tomorrow night. WIBX 950 AM 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone.
All right, Davey, a couple things. Syracuse on Saturday night ended up with a really good win. We're going to talk about that coming up.
Yeah.
This may be the best performance they have had. Would you agree, all season?
Yes, sir.
And then you can go. I'll do the rest of this. Couple things to keep in mind. Over the weekend, the Pioneers lost to Geneseo. Geneseo got out to a 4-0 start in the first period. Crazy. And ultimately, the Pioneers lost. They should have enough of a position where they'll get an at-large bid into the NCAA Division III tournament. On top of all of this, we should note that Hamilton College, congratulations goes out to Hamilton as they won their conference championship over the weekend. They get an automatic bid into the NCAA tournament. So it's possible we could see at some point Hamilton College and Utica College possibly meeting up in the NCAA tournament. We'll find out if I believe they'll get in, if they get in, and where they will be seated. The Pioneers at 10 a.m. today when they do their brackets. Coming up, we'll speak with Scott in Kirkville on Syracuse. Where are they going to go in the ACC tournament? Are we looking at a team that's starting to come together? In the last few weeks, they've played better than they certainly have previously. Just have been unable to close out the game. This time on Saturday, they got ahead early on. At one point, they were way up, right? How many points? Like 20, 25 points. They were way up. And they didn't give it up.
Yeah.
That's what we'll say. We'll speak with Scott coming up at WIBX.
This is Anthony Constantino, CEO of Sticker Mule. I'm a proud Trump supporter, running for Congress for the seat being vacated by Elise Stefanik. I built a successful internet company with nearly 1,000 people in upstate New York. However, much of upstate New York suffers from lack of access to high-speed internet that's necessary to build great companies and enable high-paying remote jobs. In fact, much of our district lacks access to strong, dependable cell phone service too. Of course, we must have both for public safety and to grow the economy. When elected to Congress, I will work quickly with President Trump to fix this problem. With high-speed internet, dependable cell service, and by renewing President Trump's tax cuts, both for businesses and individuals, we will create jobs and return economic prosperity to upstate New York. Follow me, Anthony Constantino, on Facebook today to learn more about my plans to make New York great again. I'm Anthony Constantino, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Constantino for Congress.
Whitesboro Central School District is looking for bus drivers to join their team now. Whitesboro is a leading school system in central New York with 7 schools, 3,100 students, and a 92% graduation rate. You can help drive our students' success. When you drive for Whitesboro, you get pay that's based on your experience, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and summers off. Call Andy at 315-768-9740 or stop by the garage, 20 Wood Road, Whitesboro.
Ferris Commercial Mowers set the bar with racing-inspired patented full suspension and integrated cutting decks so you can go faster, cut better, and not get beat up. Ferris Experience Suspension. Take advantage of the best financing and prices of the year. Visit us at whitesfarmsupply.com.
We're the power in power equipment. White's Farm Supply.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED,
and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to Hims.
Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs. Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/radio. To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit.
It's Brian Kilmeade.
Here's the deal on J.D. Vance. 9 things that you're not going to like about it. Not even a moment to say, hey, now your ticket's formed. It's going to be a great 4 months. Let's have at it in a civil way. That would have been a normal thing to do. Is his staff missing the moment? Are they that bad? Do they think the only way to win is to create tension, make the other guys look unelectable still?
Brian Kilmeade, weekday mornings at 9 on WIBX 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
WIBX.
This is Keeler.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Now back to the Keeler Show.
All right, let me go to Scott in Kirkville, who's standing by patiently. Scott, good morning. I know Syracuse had a really good game on Saturday. Probably their best game all season long on Saturday. Would you agree?
It was the best 40 minutes, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, they played well against SMU until the last 6 minutes of the game, and they've had, Virginia Tech until the last 7 minutes. So this was the best 40-minute game.
Yeah.
Once again, it's interesting. It's like the silver lining is the line was only 1. Syracuse only favored by 1.
Mm-hmm.
And
I want to read something to you here that is fair. I think it's from Joe. Let me get to where is it? I had it here. To Dave. Oh, here it is, right here. Bill, Davey, VTech, Virginia Tech, and SU split. Virginia Tech is not a good team. SU may have their hands full with Florida State. I hope I'm wrong. He could very well be right. I mean, the wins. The problem is all season long, Syracuse has been losing the teams they should beat. And here is a game. I mean, I realize it's a little nugget of hope. But here's a team that they should have beaten, and they did. But we didn't think they were going to because they've been so bad.
Well, Virginia, remember, started out bad. They lost their coach right before the season started. And so they were in transition the whole year. The thing with Virginia is they're not going to run away from you. They're not going to outscore you, and that's what the problem with Syracuse is. Mm-hmm. They play these high-powered offenses, and we're going to have to keep up with them. And actually, Syracuse was a better offensive team than Virginia coming in. And I felt confident. The over-under was only 133, was a joke. If you follow Syracuse basketball, Syracuse is at least scoring in the 70s. When they lose games, usually it's because the other team scores. As far as unfortunately, the two teams, to me this year was like that line from Forrest Gump with the ACC. It's a box of chocolate. You don't know what you get. Mm-hmm. You take away Duke and maybe Clemson and possibly Louisville. I think Louisville's still playing a little over their head. They didn't play well against Stanford, Louisville. I was hoping that if there was a shot just to have fun to get to the semis, you didn't want to draw Clemson or Duke. And Florida State 2 years ago didn't want to be there. I don't remember the Buddy Boeheim punch to the stomach. They got suspended for the next game. But you saw Florida State just didn't want to be there. And there's teams that know they can't win the thing, just have to show up and leave. And they just had an emotional game because it was Leonard Hamilton's last home game. He's retiring.
Yeah.
So we'll see if Florida State wants to be there. SMU's kind of checked out too. They've been on the bubble, and Syracuse should have beat them at home at SMU. I mean, they had a comfortable lead, and we'll see what happens. And unfortunately, right now, staring them in the face is Clemson. I think they can get to Thursday. I think Clemson and Duke are the only two teams physically Syracuse does not match up with. I mean, just size and just the way they play as a team. Those are the two best teams in the league.
Yeah. Yeah.
And nobody wants to play Duke. I mean, if Duke comes there motivated, it's going to be difficult for like an NC State. Remember last year, NC State ran the gambit, right? They won 5 games, and then the Cinderella went to the Final Four. Their coach just got fired, by the way. Keats. You go to the Final Four year before and you get fired. That's the way basketball is now.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you.
They get a 2-year extension. They just get into the Final Four, so they got to pay him about $6 million just to get rid of him.
So Mike saying this morning, how about the idea of Syracuse saying Autry is going to stay for one more year, that they're not going to any of these exotic tournaments unless they get guaranteed lots of money for doing it. He says without Weitzman, they are losing the NIL war.
Yeah, it could be. They got to pick up some people. I think they're in a tournament in Vegas. Is it this year or next year? Where all it is about NIL money. They're inviting 16 teams, and depends how many games you win. Who's ever sponsoring it's going to give that team more NIL money. That's the interesting part now. That's the way that the games are. You're going now to tournaments because they're going to pay you money.
Yeah.
And he used to go to Hawaii just as an inducement. Hey, we're going to be in Hawaii next year. Why don't you come? You can be on the beach. Now it's kind of gone by the wayside.
Yeah.
Long night last night. Producer Dave, I was talking to him. The West Coast played last night, and I'm telling you, when you start getting into these tournaments, and next week the big one, I'm getting my mail forward to probably Yellow Brick and a couple other places for the next 3 weeks. But,
when you go in, you like reserve a whole area, don't you?
In fact,
for basketball, this is big for you.
If you're in town on Friday, Producer Dave, we got the Fan Cave on the 21st, so you're more than welcome to pop up.
What is that called? The Fan Cave?
The Fan Cave, yeah.
And that's at Yellow Brick.
For the first full day of Friday, the first full day. So it's an ongoing thing. It's not just a couple hours. You got it for the whole day, and you got diehards like me, and you got people popping in and stuff. But the bottom line is, if you can bet in game, these are the times where you bet in game because things develop interesting, and it's one and done. And last night, you're hoping that a team that's trailing in the second half is going to have to foul at the end. There will be a lot of points scored in the second half, and that's how I kind of play these one and done games. Just wait till. We had a game. In fact, Producer Dave took the training wheels off on Saturday. The Kentucky Missouri game.
Are you becoming a bettor? You're becoming a sports bettor, Davey?
I do good on the NASCAR.
Okay, all right.
But
NASCAR.
I'm still learning how to do in-game with NCAA. Right. So I took a gamble and did a little bet on Saturday, and I won. Yeah.
Oh, how much did you win?
$9.76.
Oh boy!
I only did a small one.
You're got training wheels on. We're not going to let them go off the training wheels.
Well, I think it's better that way. Yeah.
Yeah, but I sit
the
there.
Bottom line is when I'm saying this, they didn't score in the first half. The over/under was 171. It went as low as 144.
Mm-hmm.
So you saved yourself 27 points by waiting.
Yeah.
And so we end up getting the over because it was that way, and it happened last night. Where teams weren't scoring that much. Even that Bradley game where they had to win, Bradley or Drake, because it's like a one-and-done league, the over-under came down to 104 because no one's scoring. But at the end, they had about 18 points in the last 2 minutes because they're fouling.
I think Joe Pacini's right with Syracuse. I mean, they get a win. If we're so low, the bar has been set so low that just getting a win, a convincing win for Syracuse, is like such a big victory. So, however, the ACC is just not that good, whereas the Big East, I got to tell you, St. John's has got a real shot at the big. And what are you hearing the Big East and ACC talking about merging? Did you hear this?
Teams, I mean, Connecticut would love to come to the ACC, especially for their football program, and we're turned down.
Right.
The thing about St. John's that scares me a little bit is they're not great outside shooters, and they're winning because of defense and rebounding, and it'd be interesting. Everything's about matchups.
Yeah.
If they get a team that shoots well, then there's no rebounding.
Look at the game on Saturday against Marquette that we watched.
Yeah. And everything was based on rebounding in that one. I mean, the 3-point shooters. But they got Rick Pitino. He's the master. And he's great in game situations. I see a lot of coaches. I don't know why they don't know in-game stuff. It's just you're down 9 with 2 minutes to go, and you shoot, and you're worried about getting back on defense. Well, you know what? That ship's passed. You got to crash the boards because you need possessions. Pitino will crash the boards. They're not going to be worried about getting back on defense. So I'm rooting for him. I'm a Rick Pitino fan. Remember, he coached at Syracuse, by the way. Remember that? He was the first assistant coach under Jim Boeheim.
Yeah, I do remember that.
This is his 6th team he's taken to the NCAA tournament. So he's gone. He took Kentucky when they were on death row. Remember, they had all the problems. Even Syracuse got players from Kentucky.
Yeah.
He came with the 1 point of going to the Final Four. His first year, they were eligible to come up death row. So,
all right. So tomorrow night, 7:00, Syracuse will play Florida State. They're the 11 seed. After that, what are they looking at?
It looks like SMU.
Yeah.
Okay.
SMU at 9:30 on Wednesday.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
But a couple of quick things. I lost 2 federal grants. I was working on a couple commissions.
Oh.
Yeah. and one of them was to actually interpret in the history of catchphrases in the United States.
Okay.
Sort of like pushing the envelope.
Okay.
I mean, what does that really mean?
Pushing the envelope. What does that mean? Where did that come from?
What does it mean?
Well, I know what it means. I know what it means, but where did it come from?
Yeah, where did it come from? Or blood is thicker than water. Well, they haven't seen the alien water lately, so I don't know what that means anything.
Okay.
Or piece of cake. So I was supposed to be commissioned for that. The other commission was to find out the lyrics and interpretations of the song "Louie Louie Why." That was another one.
Yeah. Okay.
So they cut the commissions up. If anybody wants to help out and donate, if you want to continue the commission, just make your monies or checks out to CASH.
CASH. Make it up to CASH. Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
But if I only had the rim shot right now, I'd be hitting you.
There you go.
Okay.
Anyway,
by the way, the phrase "pushing the envelope."
Yeah.
Do you know where it came from?
Somebody that couldn't lick it and then hit his nose and he had to push it across the table or something?
Okay. Pushing the envelope originates from the aviation world, where envelope refers to the limits of an aircraft's performance. It's like its maximum speed and attitude. It's not a physical envelope when you're pushing the envelope, beyond which flying becomes unsafe. So pushing the envelope means to operate an aircraft at or near these limits, essentially testing the boundaries of what is possible, which is why we say pushing the envelope. All right?
Well, if you're wrong, is that where the terminology tailspin came?
Tailspin is probably aviation too, I would think.
Yeah,
you're into a tailspin.
You're wrong. You're in a tailspin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go.
That's what I'm saying. You would have learned this if they didn't cut off my.
They cut off the grant. Now we'll never know. Very sad.
You never know.
Sad. All right, good stuff, Scott. Thank you, and make a lot of money.
We'll do it. Bye.
All right, thanks so much. Scott in Kirkville, who's pushing the envelope a little bit this morning. Megan has news coming right up. Also later in the hour, Tanya J. Powers from Fox News Radio. We'll talk about maybe somebody has some insight. Did the workers return? Did the COs return to work today? I believe it was 6:45, and we were going to have Brian Luska, and we still might yet, but it's now doubtful. But I don't have word. Did they return to work? We'll talk about that coming up in a bit. All the reports are saying a deal has been cut. But a lot of times what's happening is the unions cut a deal, and the COs are like, this is not a deal. We don't have a deal. Do they have a deal? You might have some insight. 315-736-0186. Megan with news coming up at WIBX.
Mattress Express's closeout sale on brand new leftover inventory and floor models. Right now, buy a king or queen and get a free adjustable base. Take up to 5 years to pay with no money down for qualified buyers and no credit check payment plans available as well.
When you need surgery, you want a remarkable surgeon you can trust. Meet Dr. Pamela Omasiete, one of Bassett Healthcare Network's fellowship-trained colorectal surgeons. She's highly experienced with advanced, minimally invasive and robotic procedures, and she is now accepting new patients. Choose Dr. Omasiete, a remarkable Bassett surgeon, and discover a team you can trust. Visit bassett.org/remarkable surgeons to learn more.
Okay, we need brakes and tires. Check the battery too, please, and how about an oil change?
There's one local shop that really knows how important it is to keep our youngest passengers safe. Mulgeri's Auto Repair, family owned and operated since 1928. That's 3 generations of family that's been looking out for your family. Trusted for nearly 100 years to keep your car on the road, plus towing, brakes and tires, and good, low mileage used cars. Mulgeri's Auto Repair, 501 Albany Street, Utica. Call 315-733-5033.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Good morning. It is 8:30, right on the nose, 34 degrees in Marcy under partly cloudy skies. Your full weather forecast is coming up next. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone. A 3-week wildcat strike by corrections officers at New York State prisons might be over. The Department of Corrections announced over the weekend that a new agreement was reached with the union representing employees. The terms require that 85% of the striking workers to return to work today in order for the agreement to take place. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison is denouncing a call for President Trump to pardon former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. The ex-cop was sentenced to prison for the 2020 murder of George Floyd. Ellison says a decision by the president to release Chauvin would cause severe injury to the Floyd family. He added that even if Trump pardons the former officer for his federal conviction, the state conviction would still remain. The idea of a Chauvin pardon came from a conservative commentator, Ben Shapiro, who believes the inmate is not responsible for Floyd's death. Cancer-causing ingredients have been found in popular synthetic hair products. A new Consumer Reports study found artificial hair brands like Magic Fingers, Sensational, and Shake and Go all had carcinogens. 90% of the hair surveyed also included high concentrations of lead. New numbers from the CDC shows that adult cigarette smoking is at its lowest level in 6 decades. Jennifer Kofer with Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center says this has proof that education campaigns funded by the tobacco tax work, but they're still concerned about a spike in vaping among teenagers and young adults. The CDC says tobacco use remains the leading cause of preventable diseases and death in the United States. And Chick-fil-A is bringing new items to its menu for a limited time. The restaurant announced that the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich will be returning nationwide on March 17th. Diners will be able to choose from original, spicy, or grilled chicken fillets. Another item coming to the menu is assorted pineapple dragon fruit beverages, including frosted lemonade, lemonade iced tea, and Sunjoy. WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM. It is 8:32. Here is your full weather forecast.
That cold air is starting to get kicked out just a bit. By tomorrow, we are up near 60 degrees. Rolling on through today, seeing the clouds give way to sunshine, 48. Tonight, mainly clear, mid-30s. Tomorrow, sunshine up near 60. Then we're going to front through. We're colder Wednesday, mostly sunny, 40. I'm meteorologist Ray Stagik at the Weather Channel on WIBX, 950 AM and 92.3 FM.
34 degrees right now in Marcy, WIBX 950 AM, 92.3 FM. I'm Megan Stone.
Okay, a couple things. We'll talk about the strike, the corrections officers' strike. Is it over or isn't it? The Department of Corrections says a deal has been struck, but really it depends on what these COs think. And I think at this point, they're talking about a 30-day period where they relieve the rules that have been set in place with the HALT Act. I'm not sure that's going to fly. But we'll see. Are they? We still might get Brian Luska, who is the local union president. We still may get him. If not today, it'll be tomorrow. But to get an update. So the question is, did they return to work today? And it keeps being said, you either return today or this is it, you're losing your job. Well, each day that they don't return, the state's kind of pushing it forward and forward. What is the state going to do? You're going to get rid of all these corrections officers? You'll have no one left. I can't imagine the National Guard can stay there for long. You struggle hiring people to begin with. The state's really at a disadvantage here. And then the political aspect of this is, the governor now has some people running against her. She's trying to protect that far left liberal base, and nothing is getting done because of it. So I think it's a very, very difficult situation. We'll talk about it more coming up here. Right now, I want to talk about Revive Soft Wave Therapy with Dr. Tim Delmedico. Last week, I did my first treatment on Thursday, and I wanted to see what it was like, and it is, I got to tell you, I totally believe it works. I have lower back pain that is pretty significant, and the idea is that this device, which has been FDA cleared, is something that it really mimics a chronic injury. And then blood rushes to that area, and stem cells go to that area, and that is a natural treatment for chronic pain, inflammation, and all joint issues. Right now, there's a $99 new patient special, a try it, if you will, $99 special, consultation with one of their doctors, soft wave therapy treatment, a treatment recovery plan, and assessment. You can call them today for an appointment. Their website, revivesoftwave.com. And Dr. Delmedico is a chiropractor and has left that end of the business to completely focus on Revive. I got to tell you, was completely impressed. During, but more so Friday, the pain really in my lower back went away and feels like the same thing as today. I feel really good today. So whether you're struggling with neck, back, knees, wrists, shoulders, and the list goes on, Softwave may be able to help. Call today, 315-725-8427. I've heard Andrew talk about this for months, and I had never tried it. I tried it on Thursday, and I am going to go back for the full. It's probably I'll be looking like an 8-session plan to really rid myself of that lower back pain. So I'm going to try it. 315-725-8427. Revive Softwave Therapy. 315-725-8427.
Looking for an insurance agency that treats you like family? Look no further than WB Payne Insurance, a family-owned and operated agency serving the community for over 65 years. At WB Payne Insurance, they understand that family comes first, and they're here to protect what matters most to you. Whether it's your home, your car, or your business, they've got you covered. WB Payne Insurance. Learn more or get a quote today by visiting WBPayneco.com. WB Payne Insurance, protecting your family like it's their own, with smart solutions to save you money.
BME Company Business Machines and Equipment has been delivering office solutions for businesses in upstate New York for over 30 years. Their success comes from finding the right document management strategies and software solutions for streamlining workflows. Simply put, BME provides fast, reliable service at the best value to keep your business running smoothly. Through BME's strategic partnership with Hummel's Office Plus, they distribute supplies for just about every machine in your office at a great price. BME welcomes the opportunity to serve your business, selling, leasing, and service in Canon and Kyocera devices, as well as FP mailing solutions. An important part of BME's culture is supporting the communities they're fortunate to work in, and BME recognizes that support is one reason for their success. The future of business in BME's area is encouraging, and the company is grateful to be a part of that growth. Call BME Company at 315-574-8200 or visit BMEcompany.com. BME Company Office Solutions. Made simple.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
WIBX.
This is Keeler.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Now back to the Keeler Show.
I gotta say, portions of the program today brought to you by Sarah's Flooring Outlet, the area's largest flooring inventory. And Sal and every single person over there, make sure you get the best service, and you will get the best prices. They have more inventory than the big box stores. And they're going to guarantee the lowest price on Revwood by Mohawk. REV Wood. Revwood by Mohawk. The U.S. is a land of quality and ingenuity, and American-made Revwood is a prime example. Revwood flooring from Mohawk has premium hardwood visuals, maximum scratch protection, and is fade resistant. Exceptional durability, so you can have the beauty of wood without compromising quality. And best of all, the long-lasting beauty of Revwood is made in the U.S., and it's American innovation you can be proud of. Visit Sarah's to discover the Revwood flooring that fits your style. Sarah's offers Smart Strand carpets by Mohawk that are extraordinarily clean, exceptionally durable, environmentally friendly. It's Sarah's Flooring Outlet, Route 49 Plaza River Road, Marcy, and online sarahsflooringoutlet.com. I don't want to bring you into this, Megan, because you're new and you'll get dragged into it. But I will say, earlier this morning, we were just discussing the news and the fact that we got a message from a listener who, Donna, who I don't want to put reveal something that I shouldn't reveal, but I will. So Donna's a regular, and I can tell you right now, I am firmly in belief that she voted for Trump. She has defended Trump with me on different issues. We've gone back and forth on issues. So starting with this, we read a message that came from her where the Musk cuts are affecting her family, and she's angry about it. And then immediately I get it start, you're always talking about Trump, you're always bashing Trump. Are you what have you become, a liberal, whiny baby? What is wrong with you people? So you just let me get this straight. I can't read a message. See, I don't want you to get into it, because you get into it, they're going to really crush you. So I just don't understand. I read a message from a listener who's affected, and all of a sudden, every day, all you guys do is bash Trump. That is bullshit. Muslims, you're familiar.
Hey,
that is ridiculous. I barely talk about it. And because I understand. Listen, he won enormously in our listening area, a huge victory. And I don't want to be that person that every day you're bashing and, you're listening to CNN or you're listening. No, I'm not. I'm reacting to a listener. And let me tell you, the cuts, it is logic to have an observation that these cuts are going to have an effect when they start hitting people who are out of work. Well, they're making $150,000. They don't need to work. Are you kidding? My God, get past your love and loyalty of the man and understand you can talk politics. You can look at things realistically. And by the way, we didn't even get into Trump. This was all about Elon Musk and these cuts. And believe me, Trump has kind of backed off a little bit in the last week.
He has.
On Elon Musk. Now here is a woman, Donna, who's saying that her daughter works with wounded warriors, and her program was completely cut. These are people who she teaches. One of the things that she does is archery with these people who've lost their legs, their limbs, their arms.
But that's not the only thing.
In some cases, they're learning archery using their mouth to utilize the bow, and you know what I'm talking about. So, and it's about PTSD. It's about allowing these people who put their lives on the line for us to be able to maintain normal lives and feel like they have purpose. Her program was completely cut. And I think that's that's a listener from here who's saying, I think this is going too far. And I know she voted for Trump. So you can't say anything and you begin to whine and cry and yell, and this isn't fair, you're always talking about it. No, I'm not, and I don't. But since when did these supporters become such babies? Except the fact that Brian Kilmeade is going to come on, and he's been critical of Elon Musk. People are going to see it the way they see it, and they're going to talk about it. That's politics. And it's not favoritism. It's not bashing Trump. I mean, give me this loyalty where it's all or you're the enemy. It's all in or you're the enemy is just blowing my mind. And it makes it difficult to do a radio show like this. I mean, I can talk about, every day we'll have, instead of talking about anything political, we're going to talk about knitting. We're going to talk about saving dogs. And we're going to talk, give me a freaking break. I'm sorry. Although we will talk about the Pope. And Tanya J. Powers, I apologize for going off on a tirade, but, enough is enough. Come on, take a deep breath. Look at yourself.
I would request to be on your knitting program because I have knit for a very long time, and I can tell you how it is very, very essential, especially in this time of great stress in our country. It is really nice to be able to use two sticks to make something good.
On tomorrow's program with Tanya J. Powers, the difference between crocheting and knitting. Join us at 7.
Yes.
All right, there you go, Tanya. There you go. These are big, important topics. It is an important topic, the Pope and his health. It does seem like I think a lot of people did not think the Pope was going to recover from this, but it seems like maybe he has. What do we know starting off the week?
Well, we know that according to the update from the Vatican, that he rested well. He had a peaceful night in the hospital, according to their Monday morning update. That is a good sign. Obviously, there's also the fact that he is now eating solid foods. That is also good. He's apparently not had a fever spike or anything like that in the last several days. He is still doing his respiratory therapy and his physical therapy. That is ongoing. He is still stable, as he has been for the past several days. Blood work results are pretty good. No fever. Like I said, he's been doing better. He's stable, as they said, but they're still saying his condition is guarded as well. They're still, they say he's not out of danger. But these are all promising signs, especially someone who's 88 who has been in the hospital since February the 14th.
So I read the other day where people are wondering, will this be the one thing that forces the Pope to say, you know what, I can't continue my duties as Pope? That would be pretty shocking.
It would. I mean, he has not given any indication that he would, resign. I think from what the reporting I've seen, he seems to see this as something that he will do until he is, no longer with us.
Yeah.
And, I don't, there's been a lot of, ever since he went in the hospital, there's been a lot of, speculation about what would happen and, this, that, and the other. He still seems to be, carrying on as best he can to leave the Catholic Church from his hospital apartment. He has a little apartment there in the hospital. And he also, led a virtual, there's a virtual Lenten conference going on. I don't know if the conference is virtual. His part in it is virtual. that is going off. That's kicked off, this weekend and going through this week. He was also a part of that. So he's actually, still doing, work as the Pope, the things that he needs to get done. But, there's a lot of questions as to how much longer he might be in the hospital. Who knows at this point?
Yeah, boy, once that pneumonia kicks in, and I mean, we've seen it during COVID, and people will get the flu, and it turns into pneumonia. It's oftentimes, and when you're 88 years old, is a long recovery.
Right, especially when you have also lost part of a lung as a younger man. Yeah. That is also, a thing that he's had to deal with, various respiratory issues throughout his life. This is something that they're obviously keeping a close eye on, but, at least we haven't heard any more about, kidney issues or fever spikes or things like that. So that's at least a positive.
All right. Okay. We appreciate it, Tanya. As always, Tanya J. Powers. Remember, tomorrow we'll be enjoying knitting and crocheting with Tanya. Okay. All right. You have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much. Tanya J. Powers. Quick break, 8:50 at WIBX.
Imagine this. You're coming down the stairs. You miss a step, but you catch yourself. And that's when you feel it. It's your knee, and it really hurts. Now you have to make a choice. The faster you see an orthopedic specialist, the sooner you'll be on your way to recovery. Choose Community Memorial Center for Orthopedics, now with a clinic open every Wednesday in New Hartford. You'll get fast access to world-class orthopedic care. We have imaging on site, and you'll be treated by Dr. Rochelle Takamoto. She's one of the most respected orthopedists in the area, and she's done more VELYS robotic-assisted surgeries than any female physician in the world. So whether it's a new injury or a long-term pain in any joint, walk into our clinic and get treated by one of the best orthopedic specialists in the area in the shortest time possible. That's Community Memorial Center for Orthopedics, with clinics weekdays in Hamilton and now every Wednesday at 83 Genesee Street in New Hartford. Visit orthoemergency.com.
Are you a CDPAP home care user or caregiver? Switch to PPL before April 1st to ensure a smooth transition. It's fast and easy, over the phone, online, at an in-person or virtual session, or with a CDPAP facilitator. Call PPL at 833-247-5346. That's 833-247-5346. Visit pplfirst.com/CDPAP. Register today. A message from the New York State Health Department.
Now Taxes is using Credit Karma, where TurboTax Expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get your refund so you can do more with it right in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. See guaranteed details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
This is Keeler.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM.
Now back to the Keeler Show.
So, portions of the program brought to you by the Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills. Accepting new patients. The Falcon Clinic is the area's premier osteopathic medical clinic, accepting new patients right now. If you're in need of a new family doctor, they're accepting patients. If you have that issue that you just cannot get to the bottom of, call the Falcon Clinic. Dr. Zielinski, Dr. Shemaleski, tremendous. My parents swear by the Falcon Clinic, and so many others do as well, because they made a difference in their lives. Call today, 315-507-4751. All under one roof. Counseling. There's the osteopathic approach, which this is the area's premier osteopathic medical clinic. And it's all there with physicians under one roof. The Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills. Okay, Mike says, you got to stop talking about Trump. You should start talking about less controversial issues like abortion and guns and fun stuff like that.
And whether it's a GIF or GIF.
GIF, right? GIF. Rick Lewis this morning, maybe Donna, you said Donna's a regular, maybe she's irregular. Okay. And then Wayne, where's Liberal Lou? Haven't heard Liberal Lou since Biden got beat. I don't know what happened there. But you're right. I don't think we've heard from Liberal Lou since maybe November, to be honest with you.
Welfare check?
I would love to get in this issue, too, on daylight saving time. So you hear, I just don't, there's things that I do not understand. I searched over the weekend for everywhere you turn, there's another story. Actually, we did one. I did one. Another story of things that daylight saving time, by losing an hour's sleep, how it can cause heart attacks. It can cause
car accidents.
It can cause all sorts of stress at work. People not showing up for work. I wonder, what does the other side say? I don't know the answer. What does the other side say?
The other side, they did say kids waiting in the dark for school because if you remember,
yes, without daylight saving time. But I'm specifically looking at what does the other side say about this is no different than what you do every week. We live our lives every week. Now, some people are very regimented. So you work 5 days a week. You have to be up at what time? 6 o'clock to go to work.
Yes, sir.
But on the weekends, some people are regimented. They still get up at 6 o'clock. They do different things. They still get up at 6. But there are a lot of people who sleep in. And so why is that any different? You have this constant schedule, Monday through Friday, where you get up at 6. But now you're not getting up until 8 on Saturdays and Sundays. And then on Monday, oh boy, this is very dangerous. You're going to go back to getting up at 6 again. Oh, you've just increased your chances of a car accident. Or your kids go on a Christmas vacation. This year, Christmas vacation for most students and teachers was 2 weeks. So now you're sleeping in. Those kids aren't getting up. They're sleeping in. Well, now you're going to make them get up again. They got to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go to school. Major problems, car accidents. They're going to not do well in school. They're not going to. Let's even make it further. Vacation during the summer. For 2 months, their schedules completely change. So I'm not here to say daylight saving time should stay in effect or it shouldn't. But hearing this from Harvard Medical and the World Health Organization and all of these groups coming out and saying how unhealthy daylight saving time is for us, I just don't understand. And I'm not a scientist and I'm not a doctor. I just logically looking at it, I don't understand how this is any different than the normal regimen we go through in life. Where your days, maybe there are those people that even when they have the day off, they're right up at 6 like they normally would be.
I think the difference is
I don't get it.
The clocks change and your entire schedule shifts from your eating, feeding your pets an hour back. When you wake up.
But listen, all of that changes for students. It changes in the summer. You have those regimented times. You eat every day at 11 o'clock. That's lunchtime. You're up. You get a quick breakfast before you go. Maybe you don't. That all changes in the summertime. How is that any different than daylight saving time? I don't see it. And I don't understand. And I could not find a single story. And I searched deep and for quite a while that there was some story out of the Cleveland Clinic came out and said, this is really a kind of a made up story. It's all for clicks. And there's really not any horrible health problem with daylight saving time. And even, let's be honest, for us in the wintertime, I don't care what time you're getting up, sunlight, your exposure to sunlight we may go, and I think that from New Year's until just a couple of weeks ago, we hadn't seen the sun in a long time.
I think this was the first time I drove into work and I saw the moon in the sky.
The moon. So
I was like, oh, that's what it looks like.
I wonder, is this really more made up than, and maybe having a summer vacation where you don't get up like you normally do and you change your habits, maybe that is unhealthy for us. So maybe it's similar to daylight saving time. I just don't know that it's a big enough deal where there are so many stories about how you have to, what you have to do in order to prevent the possible heart attack that'll be created by daylight saving time. I do not. I think it's hype and blown out of proportion. However, it's all anecdotal for me. I'm just observing from a logical standpoint, not a scientific one. So maybe I'm absolutely wrong. I don't know.
Maybe the caveat is you choose to wake up later on summer vacation, whereas when the clocks fall back, it's
choice.
not your choice.
Okay. All right. Okay. Maybe. I don't know. And today is also, speaking of this, today is National Nap Day.
Oh.
So if you're feeling like, some people won't take a nap. Other people, I think, take naps but don't admit it. Some people just doze off and they don't call it anything. It's, I don't know, I just fell asleep. Well, you just took a nap. So they say the nap shouldn't go longer than like 40 minutes. Anything over 40 minutes, you go to a deep sleep. You'll be groggy probably for the rest of the day. But a quick nap, somewhere between 15 to 40 minutes, they say, is pretty good. News is next on WIBX.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX Utica, Rome.
W295EI.
WIBX 950 and 92.3 FM, a Town Square media station.
He insists tariffs will be great for the U.S. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
We're basically going to take back the money, a lot of the money that we've given away over many decades. We've lost our jobs. We've lost our factories.
But President Trump also told reporters on Air Force One last night he is hesitant about whether tariffs imposed on exports and retaliatory ones on our the imports, rather, and the retaliatory ones on our exports could lead to a recession.
The White House is facing growing questions from economists, business owners, even voters about the impact of tariffs on the economy here and abroad. Today, trade expected to be top of mind as the president sits down with multiple tech CEOs. Among those expected to be here today, the heads of IBM, Qualcomm, HP, and Intel. Overnight, China officially imposed tariffs on many foreign products coming from the United States. The latest sign of a trade war growing larger by the day.
Fox's Mark Meredith at the White House. On Wall Street, falling stock futures suggest more selling after the Dow plunged last week just over 1,000 points. The president also said on Air Force One the U.S. has pretty much ended a pause on intelligence sharing with Ukraine after more Russian attacks.
Let's see what happens with the whole Russia-Ukraine thing. I think you're going to have eventually, and maybe not in the distant future, you're going to have some pretty good results coming out of Saudi Arabia this week.
Tomorrow, Secretary of State Marco Rubio will lead the U.S. delegation in talks with Ukrainian leaders there. Also tomorrow, the House plans to vote on a plan to fund the government through September ahead of Friday's deadline. Republican Congresswoman Mariette Miller Meeks tells Fox,
none of us like to do a continuing resolution. We would rather have had the Senate take up our appropriation packages that we sent over to the Senate.
With a potential government shutdown looming, Democrats complain it's not bipartisan. Congressman Thomas Suozzi tells CBS Face the Nation.
There's been very little negotiated. It's kind of been a my way or the highway type of thing.
Britain's Coast Guard is out on a rescue mission right now in the North Sea after a U.S.-flagged oil tanker collided with a cargo ship. Both are reportedly on fire, and some crew members had to abandon their ships. America's listening to Fox News.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're